And it's Emil Lilleberg who puts home the rebound with 1:35 to go. Tampa's in the lead 2-1.
I've been thinking for the last few minutes, why can't I have good things? That's my question. Why can't I have good things? Because Michael Hurley is here today. And I was so excited, and I guess I still am kind of excited to do this show with you, Hurley.
You're glowing right now. You're just glowing.
I mean, we've known each other for years. I think we've done 1 or 2 shows together. So, I mean, I have had this shift circled on my calendar for weeks now.
And when it happened, I would guess the year started 2001. Like, it's been that long.
It's been a long time. Golfing buddy, all that. And I'm saying I'm on with Hurley. It's going to be a good day. And then the Bruins did that to me. Why can't I have good things? The Bruins just rained on my parade, my individual parade. How you doing? Good?
And I bet you would have just settled for an overtime loss too. At least they got the point. You could say at least they hung on, and they're scuffling a little bit, but they got but 95 seconds left. You could feel it coming.
You could. They were not good in that third period. Bad turnover from Middlestat. They lose the game. They still have not clinched a playoff spot. Do you want to do the popsicle headache scenarios as to how they still can technically clinch a playoff spot today?
I was listening to Ryan Johnston there, and all due respect to what was going on, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait till tonight. There's a big slate of games at 7 o'clock. I'll check in around 9:30 and see where we're at, because that was too much for They should make the playoffs. It would take a lot for them not to make the playoffs. However, don't you want to just get it done yourself on home ice? You're finally back.
Instead of backing into it the way they may or may not tonight, depending on 17 outcomes in the NHL this evening.
They probably will. One thing I do know, and this Ryan Johnston put me onto this, smart man, the Senators can get to 96 points and leapfrog the Bruins for that top wild card this afternoon. They're playing the Islanders right now. If that happens, you can just follow it. There's a couple teams that'll be 5 points behind playing that. Do that math whenever you want. I just know it's been a bad, 9 days? However, I don't know how far back you can go, but it's going the wrong way at the wrong time of year. But unfortunately, Matt, there's just no one in the organization that they could throw in there for a little bit of punch, right? For a little bit of life.
Just a spark.
You're playing Easter Sunday after playing Saturday night in Tampa. You got to travel to Philly. The legs are going to be a little tired. You're going to be dragged. There's nothing you can do, right? There's no one out there to infuse some youth, speed, skill, talent into the lineup, right? There's no one out there.
So a lot to get to with the state of the Bruins right now. A rough loss today. 617-779-0985. If you're driving home from the Garden, we're here until 6 o'clock. We will certainly be taking plenty of Bruins calls to start off the program today. So I guess that does bring us to the James Hagens question, Hurley. I mean, interesting comments yesterday from Marco Sturm, basically saying we want to get him, ready, and we want to get him used to this system. Well, you have now 2 games left. So, are you actually going to play him? Are you going to play him in games that matter? Because, well, you didn't want to play him today. This is a game that matters. Now, depending on the outcome of 17 games tonight in the NHL, you may or may not have to play a game tomorrow that matters. Do you want to put Hagens in? Tomorrow in the lineup on the road against Columbus, a team that may or may not still have a little something to play. It's a tough spot for them to be in at this point. And you're right, things are not going the right way at the right time of the year. I will just say, though, this is who they've been all year long. They've been up and down. I mean, how many 5-game winning streaks and 5-game losing streaks have they had all year? I mean, we can do that work during the break. This is who they've been. They've been inconsistent. It's probably going to be just good enough for them to get to the playoffs, but here they are. They are not playing good hockey at an important time of year.
And, we were driving in, obviously, and we're listening to the call and we both said we got to see this goal. What Middlestat did on that game-losing goal, it was worse than I could have imagined. Like, the turnover's one thing, but then to just chase him around like a chicken with his head cut off, failing to make any body contact. And it's just like, are you afraid James Hagens might do that? Because your guys are doing it too. And I mentioned to you, Bob Beer said during the second intermission, playing a pretty good game so far, just a couple turnovers that they're going to want to clean up. A couple mistakes. I think Arvidsson had one. I forget the second one. McAvoy had one. And he was just pointing it out saying, they're going to want to clean that up. And sure enough, that's the type of mistake that I guess would be the fear. It seems like the fear is more No, these veteran guys, they've been giving us their all year. And you know what? They responded well the first time they resisted the Hagens. When Hagens became available, when BC's season ended, they said, you know what? We're not going to do it. And those guys, like you saw Elias Lindholm for the first time all year pop. You saw up and down the lineup, you had guys appreciating that the coach had their back and the GM had their back. I think you've burned every last bit of energy out of that little pop you might have gotten, and you need something. I'm not saying Hagens is going to come in and save you, but you keep playing. It's a 1-0 game. It's a 1-1 game. You need a little spark, and he's there waiting, soaking it all in, just soaking in being a pro. McCarthy.
Yeah, he's learning the system.
He's just feeling what it's like to practice at Warrior.
Well, I mean, he's got a lot of time to practice between now and the end of this. Oh, wait, no, the end of the season's on Tuesday. How many times are they going to practice between now and Tuesday? I would guess once more, right? I mean, they're not going to practice tomorrow. I mean, they'd have a quick skate in Columbus, and that's it.
I would be surprised if they practice at all, because they got to get back from their
Columbus, and they probably practice Monday.
Possibly. They're home Tuesday, so I guess there'd be a morning skate. But either way. You're pushing it now to. I would prefer, if I'm running a team and I have a young kid that I want to infuse into my lineup, I would like him to get 5 to 7 regular season games before you throw him into playoff hockey in what's going to be an insane environment. Like, wherever it may end up being, it's going to be, if you go to Tampa, if you go to Buffalo, and that's going to be what, your second NHL game. Good luck. I know, like, Tyler Seguin came in 2011 and lit up the world briefly. I don't think it's a recipe for success for your young player.
You know what I realized yesterday with the way they talked about the Hagens situation and the way they're now approaching it? They don't plan on using him in the playoffs. I mean, I think that's pretty obvious. Here's what I think happened. Hagens threatened to go back to BC. And they burned the year of the contract because they want him for next year. They burned the first year because they don't want him going back to BC. They thought it was a serious enough threat that he was going to go back to college. And so as a result, they'll say, okay, well, we'll burn the first year of the contract. That's fine, but we're not going to actually play you this year because we're going to play you next year because, you need to go ride the bus in the AHL because that's what we did back in the day. We've got veteran guys here who we don't want to upset, and they've earned it and they're working hard. You got to earn your way too. Which is all well and good if you're trying to build a culture, but I don't know, you need goals. You scored 1 today against a Tampa Bay team that is not playing good hockey. They're not.
They had lost 3 in a row coming in.
So
they hadn't won since you went down there a week ago.
This was undeniably a winnable game if you could score a little bit more, and it's not like your veteran guys aren't turning the puck over. It's not like they're doing the right thing out there. Are you going to be any worse with Hagens? I mean, that would be my assessment of it, but I don't think that's their assessment. He is not their number one option for the playoffs. You said, well, it would be nice to give him some experience before you put him out there in playoff hockey. I don't think they intend to put him out there in playoff hockey.
That's fair enough. That's fair. And the reason I think you're dead on about that is because you just look at the salary table. You have Arvidsson becoming a free agent after a resurgent year. What is he? He's got 53 points after having 27 and 15 the previous 2 years. Only played 18 games 2 years ago. But the point is, it sets up nicely for that. But what kind of game are you playing where you're saying, all right, we'll give you the PTO. You can go to Providence. How about that? A little Providence for you? It's like, this is your top prospect. This isn't a fringe guy that's one part of your business structure. This is theoretically someone that's going to be a big part of your team in the years going forward. Why was this the game? I think probably people might be hearing us and saying, like, these guys are acting as if James Hagens could have saved them from all this. And I don't think that's the case. I don't think you think that's the case.
No.
But it just feels like if you want to utilize every possible option you can to maximize your chances of winning, clinching the playoffs. Maybe these next 2 games could be a little bit less stressful, less taxing as you head into the playoffs. And instead, you're just kind of I'm not going to fully say they're playing with one hand tied behind their back, but they're not going full arsenal because of veteran. I don't even think it's the players. It just seems like the thought process is we're not going to pull veterans out. We're not going to bench someone.
No, and that's the organization. I mean, I think this comes, from the top. I think it's Don Sweeney. I rode the bus in the American League. You're going to ride the bus too. Marco Sturm is I think he cares about the veterans on his team, which I understand from a coach's perspective. But It's, hey, we're not going to throw. And I think he also believes that throwing Hagens into this spot maybe doesn't make the most sense for the development of the player, which I will totally listen to that argument. But it can't be any worse than what you're getting, which is nothing from your third line wing. Nothing. So,
well, you got something from Middlestat today.
Well,
he coughed up the puck.
Yeah, the Lightning got something from Middlestat today. He gave it to them. Tough. 617-779-0985. To you early and often today after a rough loss for the Bruins. How about Dave in New Mexico? Hey, Dave.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. The Bruins just don't have 60 minutes in them all year. I mean, it's been entertaining. They definitely improved. It's a positive. But they don't have 60, and they can't clamp down in the third period. And just like you guys said in the beginning of the show, why not throw Hagens out there? What the hell? What do you have to lose? And I just hope that they can, sew up the next game and give us a little respite. And let's see what we can do in the first round if we get there. Thank you.
Okay, are they getting there?
I think it would be very we shouldn't do the extensive breakdown, right? But let's say the Senators win today. The Bruins drop, just for simplicity's sake, to the second wild card. Mm-hmm. That gives the Red Wings. Islanders will have lost for the Senators to win, but they could get a point. The Red Wings and Islanders would be 5 points behind the Bruins. Everyone would have 2 games to play. Mm-hmm. If you lose tomorrow night in Columbus and lose Tuesday night against New Jersey, and you're stuck at 96, those teams would need to win. They would need to win today. Detroit has to win today. So you could still clinch today.
You can still clinch tonight.
Because if Detroit and the Islanders get stuck at 91 today, they cannot get to 96. We did it.
Simple math.
So you wouldn't mind the Senators leapfrogging you today, because that means the Islanders, if they lose in regulation, can't get you. And the Red Wings are they're hosting the Devils at 5. So I would start there with we unpopsicle headed that one.
Yeah.
Shout out to us.
Shout out to you, Hurley, for doing the effort on
No,
that
but
one.
I was making eye contact with you and making sure what I said was right. So there's a good chance this is completely wrong.
You're asking the wrong guy about math. I was told there was going to be no math. They're going to make the playoffs. Now listen, if we get to Tuesday, all bets are off. If this thing is not clinched up by Tuesday, it's not done by this weekend, then I'm, pressing the panic button on it. They're going to get there, but in some ways the story is going to be they're going to back into it because they're not, obviously they have not played good hockey over the last week and a half with an opportunity. I mean, it was right there in front of them to clinch a playoff spot by themselves. In the end, they're going to get there because of, the work they did really coming out of the Olympic break where they were excellent. But this is who they've been all year long, Mike. I mean, they were up and down. They were wretched to start the year. Then they bounced back. I mean, they have been up and down all year long. So, I mean, I guess you could make the argument that they're getting their bad hockey out of the way now, and then hopefully in the first round of the playoffs, things turn around. But this is just who they are. They've been a wildly inconsistent hockey team, and it's going to be just enough to probably get them into the playoffs.
Probably.
617-779-0985. How about Robert in Arlington? Robert.
Hey, so the Hagens thing I'm really starting to get confused about, because you sign him, you call him up, and once you do that, because he's a college player after the deadline, he's ineligible to go back to Providence for the rest of the year and for their playoff run. Mm-hmm. So not playing him now, and there's only 2 games left, I'm kind of questioning what they're kind of doing here, because this is why people are so worried about the Bruins player development model. It's just once again, I'm not sure what the plan is here. I really hope he plays tomorrow. Otherwise, he only plays 1 game before the playoffs. I'm a little nervous about that. It's their top prospect.
Yeah, this would be my read on it, Robert. It was Boston or BC. That was it. From the Hagens camp, he wanted to sign to get the first year of the first year under his belt, first year of the contract burned. So he hits free agency a year earlier instead of a year later. By staying in Providence on the ATO, he's not burning, any of that service time. So that's why the Bruins probably signed him, because they want him available to them at the beginning of next year. But if he was legitimately threatening to go back to BC, then you go back to BC and then you do this all over again next March when BC's season is over.
And BC could have a longer season next year. This was a short season for BC standards.
Yes, it was.
So he was kind of worked out for you that he was available. You just weren't ready for it. And to add, I'm the numbers guy today, to add some context to what you're saying, The Bruins lost 6 games in a row in October, then won 7 in a row in November.
Mm-hmm.
They lost 6 in a row in December, won 6 in a row in January. They won 4 in a row late March, and now they're on a 5-game losing streak. So
they've been.
They're getting ready for their playoff winning streak, is what they're telling you. Lose the next 2, back in, and then you'll win 8 straight come the playoffs.
They've got it figured out. It's perfect. How about Phil in Cranston? Hey, Phil.
Hey, guys. I'm concerned with the Bruins' assessment of talent because Hagen's not going to save them. They've had that Patra was supposed to save them last year. Remember? What happened to him? I mean, he just caved. He's nothing now. He's never going to see an NHL Bruins game again. And then you got the revolving door on the third line with Acimon, Steves, the other guy that they brought up a couple of weeks ago. Their assessment of talent. I mean, they put too much pressure on these young kids.
And I'll let you go on that. I would agree. Bruins talent assessment, drafting and developing has not, been where it needs to be. They have improved, certainly since, from where they were last year. Don Sweeney had an excellent trading deadline, but if you want to, criticize, the talent evaluation and the drafting and developing, I mean, have at it.
Well, what about even you talk about the talent up and down there, like the third line being sort of not a black hole because you've gotten bits and you've gotten pops from different guys at different times. How about the second power play? You're in need of someone there. And I'm not saying, again, a 19-year-old's going to come in and just dominate on the power play, but it gives us an added dimension that they're lacking. Like the second power play today was Arvidsson, Middlestat, and Mitten up front, Husnudinov and Hampus Lindholm. Is that a playoff power play unit?
No. And the reason they're going to be in the playoffs is because they have a good goalie. Right? I mean, if we're going to...
Well, their stars have been stars. Like Pasternak's been a star. McAvoy, with his 50th assist today, has had a very good season despite losing a bone in his face every 6 games for a while there.
First Bruins defenseman with 60 points since Ray Bourque. McAvoy's been really good.
Only the 5th Bruins defenseman with 50 assists in a season. It was Bobby Orr, Brad Park, Ray Bourque. I missed the 4th one. I couldn't hear it.
Yeah.
Johnston said it earlier. But still, your stars have been stars. Like, there's very little. I mean, Swayman's had some blips along the way, but those 3 guys have played like they should have, and that's probably why you are where you are.
Yeah, and listen, the roster has limitations. We all understand it. And if you're counting on a 19-year-old kid out of BC to, change the direction of your team at the end of the season, that probably speaks to the spot you're in the first place. But to everybody's point, and to your point, Hurley, I mean, what is there to lose at this point? He should
another game.
He should be out there tomorrow. Yeah, another game. You just lost your 5th in a row with the veteran guys out there. So let's see if the kid can give you a spark tomorrow.
I will say, not to get too deep in the standings talk, but the Blue Jackets have 90 points. Mm-hmm. Okay, and I don't think they're playing today. No, they are playing tonight. The Blue Jackets could be eliminated by tomorrow. So I don't know what that does. Maybe that makes it. Maybe if you do want to put Hagens in a dead Columbus, freshly eliminated Blue Jackets game could be a comfortable spot. We obviously would have done it today or last week, but it's got to happen.
How about Steve in the car? Hey, Steve.
Hey, guys. In the pregame show, they mentioned the fact that he is still eligible to play for the Providence Bruins in the playoffs until he plays in a game. And it was suggested that could be one of the reasons why they held him out today.
Well, you know what?
On that.
Whatever it may be, there's nothing more important than a deep Providence Bruins playoff.
It's very important.
It's the most important thing.
Think about how many bus rides he would have if they had a deep playoff run. I mean, going to Wilkes-Barre, Scranton.
Yeah. It's nice in the spring.
Sure. Springfield.
Not as nice in the spring, but that's fine. Yeah.
Where else? Bridgeport?
I just... it's different sports, obviously, but like I remember one year.
How about Hershey?
They have a good roller coaster situation.
They sure do.
There.
A lot of chocolate.
I would love to get out on an off day.
I mean, think about
Hershey.
it. If you've got a series in Hershey, you could go to Gettysburg for a day.
That's enriching. I would say. I would just.
They're really looking out for him.
There was a year. This is baseball. Just bear with me. I believe the Sea Dogs won a championship, and it was like Lester, Pedroia, all those guys, and you're like, oh, that's good. Do you know what you should never root for was a Pawtucket or now Worcester championship? Because then it's just sort of like you've got a bunch of quadruple A guys that are, you don't want to win the triple A, you want to win the double A. And I would say if James Hagens playing for the Bruins hurts Providence's chance at, is it still the Calder Cup? I haven't followed the AHL in a while.
I would think so.
Yeah. If it hurts a Calder Cup run for the Providence Bruins, I think you just gotta wear that one and get through it.
How about Maddie in Hull? Maddie.
Hey, guys, I think this Bees team needs all the help they can get, right? So listen, here's the thing, right? Coming into playoff hockey, all the games are tight, 1-0, 2-1, 3-2. How do you feel about this team going into the playoffs against, teams where everything's going to be tight? I'm worried about the defense, guys. This team is terrible in the second and third period. They're just letting up so many turnovers. When it starts to get tighter in games here in the playoffs, guys, this team's going to lose. They're going to lose a lot.
I hear what you're saying on that, Maddie, especially the way they've played over these last 5 games. I don't rule it out one bit that they turn it around and get hot for a round. That's just the way hockey is. You've got a good goalie. You've got, to your point, Mike, star players, certainly at the top of your roster. Let's say you draw Buffalo in round 1. You're telling me that a more experienced veteran Bruins team with a hot goalie can't knock them off? And do I believe in this team? Do I believe in them? No, but it's just the nature of the sport. They're not going to go on a deep run because in the end, they're gonna wear Swayman down. He's played a lot of games. I mean, he has to play tomorrow, right? If you haven't clinched, he has to play tomorrow. So, you're going to put a lot of tread on those tires, and eventually that's going to catch up with him. It just might not catch up with them in the first round.
There are few teams that I could see them beating 4 times in 7 games. They're like, Tampa's not one of them. Buffalo's not one of them. I guess if Montreal gets there, then maybe I could envision it in some way. They're 2 games back of Buffalo, 2 points back of Buffalo right now. But what was the caller's name? Maddie because I was thinking today, this feels really playoffy, not intensity, like they weren't playing as hard, but the game style. There was no whistles for the first 6 minutes. Yep. There was no there was no room to breathe on the ice. There was there was not much risk. And how did both teams' first goals happen? Sneaking behind the defense, a quick lapse where a breakaway and you capitalize. There was nothing there. This was very much a playoff game. And to the caller Maddie's point, that's twice in a week against a very good playoff team that you played a game like that. You led after 2 periods and you lost. And not to make 2 games into everything, those are the games you're going to have to win. And I don't love them in those games.
Everything you say makes sense. I've just watched this team all year. This is who they've been. They've been so up and down. And I mean, there are times this year where, again, beginning of the year, I thought they were one of the worst teams in hockey. What, a 7-game losing streak essentially to start the year. Then they bounced back with the 6-game winning streak right after that. They have been so uneven, so up and down. And you're right. They have, with something on the line for the last week and a half, they have played like crap. And they played like crap in the 3rd period today. And yes, this is who they've been. And do you believe in a team that looks this way when, things get a little bit tighter? Down the stretch, Morgan Geekie scored today and scored, 3 times on Tuesday, but otherwise has been missing for months now. Now that the games matter more after the Olympic break, he's been missing. Do I believe in this group? No, but I also believe in their inconsistency, and I don't rule out the possibility of them getting hot for 1 round.
Unless, and this could be the real punishment if Ottawa does jump them. Carolina, I don't think you even got to play that series. Not to be.
I would agree with that.
That's just that team is good. That's a problem.
No, and it's going to be matchup dependent. Of course it is, and maybe that will be the story. Coming out of this stretch here for the Bruins at the end of the year, where we're going to sit there Tuesday night and we're going to say they have a really bad matchup in the first round, and if they just even played below average hockey in the final 2 weeks of the season, they would have avoided that matchup and they would have put themselves in a better position to succeed in the first round. That very well might be the result of this. So am I pressing the panic button today? No, I'm acknowledging, how poorly they're playing right now. It's probably not going to cost them a playoff spot. They still might clinch tonight, but let's call it what it is. They have not played well here.
Their number. To your point, because you want to believe. You want to believe.
I really don't. I'll be honest. No, I really don't believe. I don't believe in this team. I want to make that very clear. I don't believe in them. I just have seen who they've been, and I don't rule out the possibility that they get hot and steal around. Just because that's who they've been all year long.
I am here to support your takes with information, because that's what I've done so far.
Because none of my takes are based in information or fact whatsoever.
Well, they're not incorrect, because potential playoff opponents, you've got everyone in their own division. Buffalo, Montreal, Tampa are all possibilities. Buffalo, they went 3-1 against this year. Carolina is the other one. Yep. If they end up flipping as the bottom, Carolina, they've gone 1-1 against, and then Montreal 2-1-0. So they've done all right against these teams, and then now Tampa, Tampa's an unfortunate one.
Yeah,
3-1.
Tampa's
so
a problem.
I think you want to avoid that.
I mean, Tampa's been a problem for a decade. So I never feel good about the Bruins going into a game against the Lightning.
There's also
I've been there, done that, seen that.
Yeah, no. There's also, I mean, the fact that Buffalo hasn't hosted a playoff game since, like, there are 17-year-olds who have never seen the Sabres in the. There are 21-year-olds because they were babies. So, like, there are fully grown adults that have never seen the Sabres host a playoff game. It's been that long. Yeah, I believe it was 2009.
It's been, Ryan Miller, 2010 era.
A lifetime ago. So I guess I could see that. Maybe the Bruins, with whoever they don't have the most playoff experience, but they have some.
They have plenty of playoff experience. I mean, for a team that
it's not like it's up and down the roster like it used to be, where you have guys that like your Bergerons that have been in Krejcis that have been through the battles every year and are used to playing to the second and third round. You don't quite have that.
No. But you also don't have any young guys either, because they hate young guys. So they have a bunch of guys who have played a lot of hockey. It's very important to them.
That's a good point.
Let's not put a single young guy out there.
They might turn it over with 95 seconds left in a critical game that could clinch the playoffs.
God forbid. Can't let that happen. Oh, wait. 617-779-0985. Two open lines. Grab them. We'll continue with your thoughts on the Bruins. Just a rough loss. That third period was... that was a tough watch. We'll continue. Michael Hurley's here. Very happy about that. Matt McCarthy. We've got the People's Champ producing for us, George Sepulveda. 617-779-0985.
Boston's home for sports.
Down to our right for Elias Lindholm. Able to win the draw. Push back to Pasternak, who's out at the point. Center blue line here for McAvoy. Pasta top of the right circle. Gets it down low. Back to Pasta. Over to the far circle. A one-timer by Geekie.
It hit Arvidsson.
Geekie near circle to Pasternak. High slot. Shot save Vasilevsky. Rebound comes back to McAvoy. 16 seconds left. Zacha near circle to McAvoy up top. To Zacha. Throws it in front off Vasilevsky. 7 to go. Pasternak got it in front. Diving effort by Zacha. Can't keep it alive. It's cleared back into the Bruins zone, and that is going to do it. For the second straight Saturday, the Tampa Bay Lightning come from a goal down in the third period and beat the Bruins in regulation. Boston loses their 5th straight game and misses out on a chance to try to clinch a playoff spot here this afternoon at TD Garden. 2-1 the final. Lightning win it.
I don't know if you have the experience after a game, Hurley, where it's like you feel angry in the moment and then the anger subsides. I think the farther away I get from this one today, the more mad I get about it. Because I just keep thinking about what happened in that third period. You know, the middle stat turnover. I mean, they no-showed that third period against a team that has no-showed a road trip and is nowhere near what they once were in the Lightning. I mean, they haven't been, anywhere near what they, were before the Olympic break. This was such a winnable game for them.
Against
such
an
opportunity.
You did the same thing against a week ago.
Lose 5 in a row at this time of the year. The bar is so low for this team to make the playoffs right now, and they're going to. And it might happen tonight because they get help on the scoreboard, but yeah, the farther away we get from the game, the more frustrated I get by what I just watched. I don't know, maybe I was just a little stunned coming out of it. Why I should be stunned, I have no idea. I mean, this is who they've been all year long.
I think the fact that, again, in I heard Ryan Johnston bring it up at second intermission. He said, we were in this exact spot 1 week ago. Bruins leading by a goal, 1-0 over Tampa. He said something to the effect of, let's hope they don't do the same thing. Last week, in that third period, do you know what they were outshot in the third period?
Can you remind me?
10-3. 10-3. You got 3 shots on goal. You lose 3-1. And here you are, the rarest thing in sports, a second chance. A chance to say, you know what? We goofed. We erred. Let's make up for it this time. You can't change the past, but you can control the present, and you did the same thing.
Well, more of that where that came from tomorrow as the Bruins head off to Columbus. Probably, I would guess, with still something to play for. I mean, we'll see. You want to bring up those playoff scenarios? Do you write them all down?
So Ottawa won.
Okay.
Ottawa won today. That means the Bruins have been jumped in the standings. That means the Bruins are now the second wild card. That means but that does mean the Islanders lost in regulation. So you've got the Red Wings 5 points back. They play tonight.
Yep.
5 o'clock. I believe I said they're hosting the Devils. Don't quote me on where that game takes place. The Devils have been eliminated. So that is a winnable game for Detroit. Let's say Detroit wins tonight. They will be 3 points back of the Bruins with 2 games to play.
Okay.
Not that complicated.
Easy enough, right? Because, okay.
Now, that being said, if Detroit loses at 5 o'clock tonight against the Devils, I believe the Bruins will clinch. This is a lot of pressure being the information man when you're a big, dumb idiot like me.
Thank you. And if Hurley's getting it wrong, you can hold him accountable at 617-779-0985. I'm just going to take your word for gospel, Mike. I mean, this is why we have you.
96 minus 91 is 5, and you cannot get 5 points in the NHL in 2 games. I am confident of that. So the Red Wings need to win tonight.
This is the type of analysis you don't get anywhere else. John in Shrewsbury. Hi, John.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good.
I just wanted to touch up on their playoff hopes and also the defense, too. The Bruins have, 3 30-goal scorers, 2 20-goal scorers. How are you in this spot right now with that scoring? I'd have an optional practice or defense practice only. Apple turnovers everywhere. Nikita Zadorov's lazy. I mean, these are good hockey players. They're just not playing their best hockey right now. Am I overreacting, or that's all I have to say?
I'll be honest. I think they are who they are. Like to say that the Bruins are, I think what the caller is saying there's something more than this. No, they're the 7th or the 8th best team in the Eastern Conference. That's the roster they built. That's the roster that they are ultimately going to. That's the output from this team this year. They're probably gonna finish 7th or 8th. Looks like 8th based on Ottawa jumping them right now. So,
well, I guess who's
underperformed?
That's what I was going to ask. I think when the Bruins signed Elias Lindholm, it was the idea that he would be his best season again.
Yeah,
which is their fault.
Yeah.
I was.
This is who he is.
It was 5 years ago. He had 82 points. He had a point per game, 42 goals.
Who was on his wing again? Was it Gaudreau and Tkachuk?
Tkachuk.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
How many points could you get with Gaudreau and Tkachuk on your wing?
Like 20, probably.
Yeah.
If I could physically withstand and not get my head taken off on my very first shift, I could probably do enough to over the course of 82 games, pick up like 10 secondary assists and then just stand in front of the goal, stand in front of the net and score some goals like off my feet, off my elbow pad.
I could get 6 points and I can't skate.
Yeah. Well,
6 points with those guys.
Got to get out there.
Just get out there and lie on the ice.
Plus minus. But he's the one that I would say like Arvidsson has arguably overachieved. Geeky has overachieved. Zacha, that's to your point. He is what he is.
He is who he is.
Yeah, like I would say like Middlestat in the same boat. Like maybe the Bruins were too invested in guys like Middlestat, Elias Lindholm, even like Hampus Lindholm to a degree. I don't think he has been the player they hoped when they got him and signed him. But yeah, I mean, did anyone else expect Elias Lindholm to be able to replicate that? Because I sure did.
I think they've appropriately achieved. This is who they are. I felt all year long that they were going to be, in the playoffs by a point or two or out of the playoffs by a point or two. Even with the way they're playing down the stretch, it looks like they're going to be in the playoffs by a point or two. That's the way it's going to shake out. That's who they are. Are they good enough to steal a series in the first round? I argue they probably are, just because they've got good goaltending and they've got some top-end talent, and you never know if that's enough in hockey. It's 8 seeds beat 1 seeds all the time. I don't rule that out, but I don't look at this team and say they've left a lot on the table. This is who they are. And the 5-game losing streak followed by a 4-game winning streak, that's who they've been all year long. They have been wildly inconsistent because in the end, there really isn't a lot to separate Team 8 and Team 11 in hockey. It's just the way it is. That's the nature of the sport. So they are slightly better than the teams they've been competing against for these final 2 playoff spots for the majority of the year, and as a result, they're going to end up with a playoff spot. It's not going to be pretty. They're going to back into it, and you're not going to feel good about it. I mean, you certainly can't feel good about the way they've played and the product you've watched over the last week and a half, but I don't know what you necessarily expect. This is who they are. And watch them get hot and win a playoff series, because that's who they've been. 617-779-0985. How about Mark in South Carolina? Mark.
Hey, good afternoon, guys. Love listening to this, although every time I hear something else, I get more angry with the Bruins. But here's my comment. Somebody earlier said it. By the time the third period comes around, they die. They can't. At the end of the game, the last 5 minutes, they couldn't even handle the puck. My thought was on that, are they playing their players too long on shifts, and that's what's causing them to be more tired toward the end of the game? The second point I'd like you to refresh my memory on, there were at least 3 or 4 times where the Bruins had a person right near the goal. One would have been Minton, and I think the other one was Asimon, and they were like looking to pass it versus take a shot at the net. It's just like they're very hesitant on how they're playing and gun shy almost, and they're playing not to lose versus playing to win.
So what I think you're getting at, Mark, if I could, I guess, move it forward there, the coaching approach. Are they, prioritizing longer shifts? Are they a pass first team? Do they not have a shot mentality? What is the culture here? Can we get into the job that Marco Sturm has done on the other side? Because I really do think he's done an excellent job this year. I disagree with the Hagens approach, but I don't know if that's necessarily Marco Sturm's choice. I think that's probably a little bit more front office.
I will say the commentary from Sturm the other day, but we just want him to get the feel. I mean, what's better than being a pro and get that did not feel very Marco Sturmy to me.
Okay.
That did not sound like Marco Sturm.
90 seconds, no commercials. The job that Marco Sturm has done, his role in James Hagens' decision, and will Hagens play tomorrow in a game that you may or may not need? We'll get into that. No commercials, just the headlines. Quick update from Hurley. Right back with you.
From the Town Fair Tire Studios, this is Boston's home for sports. The flagship station of the Patriots, Bruins, the Celtics, WBCFM and HD Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group station celebrating 65 years of broadcasting. Sports Hub headlines, presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
As you might have heard, the Boston Bruins had a one-goal lead in the third period with a chance to clinch a playoff spot this afternoon, but blew a lead against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Brandon Hagel scored the game-tying goal, and Emil Lilleberg scored the game winner with 90 seconds left to play. Tampa's 2-1 win. Bruins will be scoreboard watching tonight, hoping the Red Wings lose before taking the ice in Columbus tomorrow for their penultimate game of the season. In baseball, the Red Sox also lost. That's the one in St. Louis last night. Dustin May shut them down. Zach Kelly coughed up the lead out of the bullpen, and the Red Sox dropped to 4-9 in the season with a 3-2 loss. Those teams will play the game 2 of that series on national TV tonight at 7:15. And a Masters update. Rory McIlroy bogeyed the first, found the woods on the second, but birdied the third to get back on track. He's currently 12 under. While Haotong Li has snuck into second place at 9 under. 3 players, Shane Lowry, Sam Burns, and Cam Young, are 8 under. Matt McCarthy selfishly rooting for Rory bogeys today. You could also root for this. Scotty Scheffler is on fire. He is 7 under today through 16, climbing 18 spots on the leaderboard. Look out for him. You never know if he'll make a run. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Awaken 180, the official weight loss program of the Boston Red Sox. Make this season your season with the solution for weight loss, Awaken 180 Weight Loss. I'm Michael Hurley. Next headlines in an hour.
The Sports Hub. 3 legendary franchises on one legendary radio station. It's the Sports Hub. No matter what team, no matter what player, no matter what coach, no matter what game, it all happens here. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
It's always a challenge for everyone. Depends a little bit too what kind of phase you're in. So it's the good thing is with me, I over the past, especially in Ontario, I always have college kids coming in. Maybe not Hagens, quality, but they're all college kids. End of the day, they never played against men, so it's always a challenge. And but I'm prepared. Any of them, or if not, I don't see a problem because guys are. I feel like in the league in general, it's part of the game now. If you look at some other teams, there's so many guys now, and it's almost like it's part of the game now. Having this time of year, college kids coming in.
Marco Sturm on James Hagens. Of course, yesterday announced that Hagens would not be playing today. I'd be curious to see if he plays tomorrow. My guess is that depends on what happens tonight around the league. If the Bruins, back into a playoff spot, they clinch tonight. That means I would guess Hagens would probably draw into the lineup tomorrow just to give him a taste of the National Hockey League. But I don't think you're going to see him in the playoffs based on the way you're approaching it. And I just wonder how much of it is Marco Sturm's decision. He said yesterday, quote, "He just needs time to get used to our system. We're not going to throw that kid in and fail. We'll take it day by day and find the right time." So if that is true, that you want Hagens to learn the system, the answer is he doesn't have enough time to learn by the end of the year. He just doesn't. Team's barely going to practice between now and the end of the season. They play tomorrow in Columbus in a game they still might have to win. So if you don't want to put him in a spot where he may fail, which, of course, it's sports, you may fail in any spot, but if they want to find a softer landing spot for him, what that suggests to me is they don't intend to play him at all this year or in any game that is meaningful in any way. And I just disagree with that. I would just wonder how much of that decision is Marco Sturm. When he says he just needs time to get used to our system, I'm not quite sure I buy that.
Yeah.
It's a little coach speaky. I think
it's a little like you don't understand little peasants out there in the media room. Like, you're nice people. I like you, but you don't quite get it what we're doing, and he's only played hockey his whole life. Like he's going to need, I don't know, 3-4 weeks to really grasp the concepts of what we're talking about over here.
This comes from above. This is a front office decision, and
what if
Sturm has to answer for it.
But what if he vehemently disagreed? What if he was, I think he's okay with it. I don't think it's necessarily his call, but I think they go to him and say, Marco, we got, like, do you think you need, and he's probably like, no. I think we're okay. I would assume he has to have some sort of sign off on it.
No doubt. He has an opinion on it, but in the end, is his opinion the most important opinion in the room? And the answer undeniably to that is no. He's a first-year head coach. This is Sweeney's operation. This is Sweeney's organization. It's Sweeney and Neely. Those are the guys who make decisions like this, and a true hockey decision that's made by Don Sweeney. That would be my sense. If Sturm is a 10-year NHL veteran head coach, he's probably more likely to go, and I don't know if he feels this way, but let's just play out the scenario. He's more likely to go to the general manager and say, you're wrong about this, I'm putting the kid in. We should put the kid in for reasons X, Y, and Z. I have no idea if he actually feels that way. Maybe he does feel that Hagens needs more time and he doesn't want to put him in a position to fail. I just think he's answering for the organization. The fact of the matter is, if they believed in James Hagens, if they believed Hagens was going to have a true impact this year, and if they weren't set in their ways about, well, we send him down to Providence because that's what you do, and we take care of we take care of veterans over young guys, and you earn your spot, and we earned our spot back in the day, so you earn your spot now. If they didn't feel that way, Hagens would have been up 2 weeks ago. He would have been up the day after BC was done. He would have been signed to the roster, and they would have been integrating him into the system at that point.
Which happens all the time.
Yes, it does.
Everyone's looking at the college, the conference tournaments, or whether they make it to the round of 16, the national tournament. Everyone's looking for that because some of the top prospects are going to become available. It happens. You just wouldn't know it based on the weirdness of how they played this one. But I think I think if Marco Sturm was banging the table saying, like, no, we desperately need something different, then Sweeney, I think, would acquiesce. I think he would say...
I'm not convinced he would.
Well, I would put it this way. I don't think Sturm is banging the table. I think he's like, you know what? I like what we got. But I hate to necessarily do this. I hate to, theorize about potential injuries, right? Mm-hmm. But let's say they take the ice tomorrow night in Columbus or Tuesday against the Devils, and let's say, one of those guys, one of the Husnadinovs or the Isamons or Middlestat. Steves. One of those guys gets banged up, and then you have to play him. And then it's just it's too late. It's just, it's a weird game they've played, and I think it's too late anyway.
Yeah.
But you would at least like 2 games before the intensity ramps up to 1,000.
It's a good point. The Stanley Cup playoffs are a battle of attrition. It's the way it always is. You need depth going into the cup.
That's a good point. What if that injury that I talked about happens a week from now in Game 3?
And he hasn't played. And there you go. I mean, are you calling up Reichel again from Providence? I mean, maybe. I don't think they intend to play him in any meaningful game this year. Otherwise, he would have already been out there. And if he does end up getting out there for whatever reason, maybe it's injury or maybe it's anything else, have they done everything in their power to put him in a position to succeed? Sturm says yesterday, we're not going to throw that kid in and fail. Okay, that's fine. So then that means it's next year. That means it's October. And he's going to fail on a random Thursday night against the Devils in a game that doesn't matter. Okay, that's fine. And I just think that's the way this is playing out. Hagen said, it's either Boston or BC. I'm not sticking around in Providence. And he threatened to go back to BC, and they want him at the beginning of next year. So they say, okay, fine, we'll sign you. We're not going to play you, but we're going to burn the first year of the contract, which the player wants, obviously. That gets him available for the start of next year. But I would not count on them playing him at this point. I think that ship is pretty much sailed.
Do you know what's funny? Again, I'm here with more numbers. I just ranked the Bruins by games played this year.
Stat Masterson over
Absolutely. Here. I just looked at games played, the games played leaders on whoever's played the most this year, and then I just looked at their age. There's 2 young players on the team, and really one, Fraser Minton has played the whole year, has been good.
Right.
I don't think they're worried about him. He's 21 years old. He's played the whole year.
But Minton got the end of last year in games that really did not matter.
Yeah.
So he got his feet wet, and it's like, okay, well, he earned his spot last year. I do think there's a lot of that.
So
you got to earn your spot. You got to earn your stripes.
This hasn't been updated today, so I just have 79 games. The 80th game is hockey reference. You have Sean Corrali, 33 years old.
Yep.
You have Kastelik, 26 years old. Mitten, as mentioned, 21 years old. Zadorov, 30. Geeky, 27. Zacha, 28. Janot, 28. Pasternak, 29. Peak, 27. Husnudinov, 23.
Yep.
Counts as a young player. Lorai, 25. I don't think counts as a young guy anymore.
Probably not. Younger guy. But
Younger.
He's got, a million games under his belt at this point.
Middlestat, 27 years old. Arvidsson, 32 years old. McAvoy, 28 years old. Elias Lindholm, 31 years old. Hampus Lindholm, 32. Aspero, 26. That's not young. Isamont, 29. And Steve's 26. Then you go back to Yogi Haru, 20. There are no young guys on this team.
They don't like it. They
don't play young guys.
They don't believe in it. And I think, I'll be honest, I think this is an organizational thing. And it's interesting. You bring in a guy in Sturm who has AHL experience. I mean, he talked about it. It's like, yeah, I've been there. It's you get kids coming out of college and they join the team. They're playing against veteran guys, and that's just a part of it. It's the way it is.
He used the word grown men.
Grown.
Because one thing, college hockey players, they're all children, right?
Right.
No one is 24 years old in college hockey, right? Or no one's big in college hockey, right? There's no grown men in.
No.
It's as if they come from pee-wees and well, now they're playing against grown men. It's going to take. I get it, but it's not that league anymore.
No, it's not.
Who is the thumper? Who is going to actually there are occasionally guys that you got to be wary of, but it's not 15 years ago.
I think they're behind the times on this.
Yeah.
I just think they are. And is it the difference between them going and winning the Stanley Cup this year? No, obviously it's not. But wouldn't you like to see him out there?
We'll put it we have definitely spent too much time on it today. And it creates the idea these guys are acting like Hagens is the savior. But it just speaks to how on the surface it feels as though there's no good reason not to have done it. And then we could evaluate the Bruins right now. Say Hagens had been playing for a week. We could say, all right, Hagens is trying to work in there. There's ups and downs as you expect, but here's what he brings. Here's what he's struggled with. They are trying everything they can to go into the playoffs consistently performing. And the fact that he isn't playing and they're not consistently performing unless, a losing streak is technically consistent, you're left to just sort of make it looks bad. It looks bad for them.
Your overall thoughts, though, on Marco Sturm and the job he's done this year?
I just read you the roster, and that team's making the playoffs.
No, he's done a great job.
I think he's squeezed every last ounce out of this roster. And I mean, you can find faults here or there. Maybe the third period, it seems as though is a creeping issue that they need to work on.
Is that a coaching thing, or is
That's
that
an
the
NHL
fact
thing.
that you've got Casey Middlestat out there playing important minutes for your team?
Yeah,
I don't put that on the coach.
Fair enough. I think Sturm has had a great year. I did not have playoff aspirations for them this year. I thought they'd be one of those teams that made it sort of toward the end. We're like Detroit is right now. I thought they'd be. So they have been 5 to 8 to 10 points better than I expected. They're probably going to make the playoffs. We feel we probably not quite. They don't have the X next to their name yet, but most likely in the playoffs. And I think given the roster he had, he's. I wouldn't say far surpassed expectations, but definitely surpassed them.
Well, I mean, for a rookie head coach, to be given a team that is, let's call it what it is. Their roster talent is playoff line team. To get them on the other side of that line means you are maximizing what you have to work with. If they just missed the playoffs by a couple of games, would that be a significant underachievement for Sturm? No, it wouldn't, because that's who they.
If they blow it now. Yeah.
Well, if they blow it now,
that would be a problem.
But I'll be honest, I still don't think I'd put that on the coach. I'd put that on the fact that the roster just isn't. The roster is fully capable of losing 6 and 7 games in a row because they keep doing it, and then they're going to win 5 or 6 games in a row. I mean, I guess you could say, that you could put some of that on the coaching staff because you want a coaching staff to instill and get consistency out of a roster, which I get, but. In the end, you got Casey Middlestat out there in the third period doing what he's doing. I can't put that on a coach. I just can't.
Yeah, but a young guy, if he did that,
oh no,
it would
forget
be the
about
end of the world.
I mean, a guillotine the guy.
I would like to know what Sturm says to Middlestat after, because if it was Hagens, we can assume it would be bad. What does he say to Middlestat after that? I mean, he knows he screwed up. It's not like Middlestat needs to be told. But I wonder what the dynamic is there where Sturm and Sweeney have had these guys' backs. Like, this forward group has gotten – no one's had to be benched for a rookie.
Yep.
I wonder if that changes because of that.
I'll be honest.
It should.
I wonder how much of that really is Sturm. I think it's an organizational thing. I think that comes from the front office. Sturm was an AHL guy. He's more used to working with younger players. I don't think Sturm is as scared by the young players as the organization is.
I'm reminiscing greatest film of all time, Miracle. Ever heard of it?
I'm sure, yeah.
And I
might be one of the more overrated films of all time, but that's neither here nor there.
Well, the tension has just gotten thick in this room. But I would say, I can't forget the player. They brought a player in late, and Herb Brooks was like, "We love this guy. He makes our team better." And they had to step in and be like, "Herb, we're family, yeah, family." And they kicked the kid off the team, and it just felt like they had that moment, and and it was galvanizing for that forward group. And Elias Hingham was like, I can do something on the ice now. Watch this. And then Geeky remembered to score. Like, all these things happened. And I don't know how long you can ride that. I think that has fizzled. And, the U.S. team in 1980 famously did win the gold medal.
Sure. I have heard that before. Short
tournament, though. That's a short-term burst you get from things like that. So I just think that did help. And that's why I do think this is Sturm's ethos, because he's worked with these guys. They've done everything that he's asked of them. How could he take their jersey away for a game for a kid who's never done it?
This does get me into something going on with the Red Sox, because there's a little of that too. We can't possibly move Precious Trevor Story away from shortstop. That's his spot. So I know we're all about run prevention.
You did move him out of the 2-hole.
Yeah, I mean that was a big step enough to admit that he's a crappy hitter. But no, shortstop, that's his spot. Can't. I know we're all about run prevention this year, but the thing we're most important, the thing that means the most to the team, is not hurting Trevor Story's feelings. Hurt feelings prevention. We'll get into the Red Sox a little bit later on. I see on the phone lines to take care of you on the Bruins as well. We'll open it up, though, to anything beyond the Bruins at this point, coming off a very frustrating loss today at the Garden, a chance to clinch, and that third period was not good. Not good at all. Michael Hurley's here. Matt McCarthy hanging out on the Sports Hub.
Boston's home for sports, 98.5. Sports. Yeah, we got that covered. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Matt McCarthy, Michael Hurley, you, 617-779-0985. Coming off a tough loss for the Bruins today. Playoff spot still not clinched. Matt in Wilmington. Hey, Matt.
Hey, guys. I think you're off on the Hagens thing. I'm just not sure why they would bring him up from Providence. They could have left him there. Providence plays a system, obviously. I think they're obviously top of the table in the AHL, going to playoffs. Could have got some great pro experience playing against men there. But unless there's some contractual stuff that I'm not aware of, it doesn't make any sense to bring him in, bring him to the NHL, get him into the practices, and get him all ready. I think this is part of the plan. Get him to the ninth floor and watch a game after having a practice or two under his belt. See some of the systems with his own eyes from there. And then I'm guessing we're going to see him in these next two games, because the Bruins definitely need an injection of energy, because there was none and hasn't been really much at all in this losing streak. And unless they have that energy, their first-round hopes, or even second-round hopes, if they make it that far, aren't going to be there. So they need that injection of energy, and I don't see why they wouldn't play him. It makes no sense. They would have just left him in Providence, in my opinion.
Well, here's the thing, Matt. They could try to leave him in Providence, and James Hagens could say, I'm not staying in Providence. That's the issue here. You might be right that they're going to, let him see a game on 9 today, and they're going to play him tomorrow, whether or not tomorrow's game means anything for the Bruins, whether or not they, clinch and back in tonight with some help on the scoreboard. But there is no way. Hurley, if you're James Hagens, are you staying in Providence for the rest of the year? Or are you going to say, I'm going to go back to BC?
I wonder what's going on behind the scenes. I wonder, because he does seem to be yielding some power here, or his agents, at least in this situation. Because, like you said, I agree with you that it was. Why I'll go back to BC. I like BC. I would go back to BC if I was 19 years old.
Sure, it's not a bad gig. I mean, would you rather?
I'd rather be at BC than Providence.
Yeah,
I went to school in Rhode Island. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to the Ocean State, but like the Providence Place Mall. On hard times.
Tough times.
Not much going on down there.
Yeah.
And it's just, I could see it feel like sort of a waste of time. It's not that it's a complete waste of time, but if you are good enough, and to the caller's question that, or essentially why would you do it? I think they need it. I think they need something. It's a grind right now. You score once today on a quick breakaway. That was your offensive. Like, there was no sustained offense. You are struggling. You need something. And again, if he can give you 1 or 2 scoring opportunities a night, that's 1 or 2 that you're not getting right now.
Imagine trying to sell a 19-year-old kid who plays in Hockey East at the highest level of Hockey East that, no, what would be best for you is to live in Providence and ride the bus to Bridgeport.
I did look it up, though. The Providence Bruins dominating this year. Dominating.
Strong.
Dominating.
Top of the table, as we just heard.
So if we're hearing that, there must be a push down there for, like, we got to win this thing. So I get it.
Big time Calder Cup fever in Providence?
People like winning. I get it. It's nothing wrong with that. But it's just in the grand scheme of the Boston Bruins, it's not that important. When you have Stanley Cup playoff games coming up next week, with all due respect, the AHL is fun. Mm-hmm. I like an AHL game like the rest of them. Rochester's great.
Sure. Springfield, Bridgeport.
Just not that important
Hershey.
In the grand scheme of the NHL club.
No, and not that important in the grand scheme of James Hagens. There is no way it makes any sense for him to stick around in Providence. Now, you could make the argument that the Bruins would love it if he, went and played, in Providence and played all throughout the Stanley Cup playoffs, and you can, develop and learn how to play against men. Yeah, it takes 2 to tango on that. Hagens is not forced to do that. He can tell you, guys, go pound sand. I'm going to go back to BC next year, and let's do this all again next March. Because there is no draw for the player to sign a contract where he's going to end up in Providence.
It is weird that they did send him to Providence. He did play 6 games there, and then he's been called up to do nothing.
I think that I don't think that's weird, because he burns the contract. He burns the year of the contract.
He wants that.
He wants that. But the Bruins, by signing him, that prevents him from going back to BC.
But so he's good enough to be on next year's team, which starts in quick math, 5 months.
Yes.
5 months from now, he will be a big part of what we want to do. He'll be on the third line. Right now, we're good. We have Casey Middlestat. We have Victor Arvidsson.
Hey,
we're fine. We have Mikey Isamont.
I disagree with that, but I think that's how they feel.
We have got
if I had to guess,
Marat Husnudinov. We're fine.
Alex Steves.
We've got Stevesy. It's just, again, I can't say it enough. Neither you nor I are saying had they brought Hagens up, they wouldn't have lost any of these games. But the fact that they are losing these games clearly needs something. Mm-hmm. Have someone that they can use and aren't using it. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
How about Spence on the Cape? Hey, Spence.
Guys, great show.
Thank you.
A couple points I'd like to make about being optimistic about the Bruins this year. Number one, Swayman gets hot. I don't want to be another team coming into this building dealing with this grind that Strum's got in his system. You kidding me? These guys are bipolar. They're hot and you're cold all season, but when the playoffs come, it's a whole new season. They get tough. They get physical. They get some good performances from Swayman. They're in it. They're in these series for the first couple rounds. They have a good shot at coming out of it. I think they're going to surprise some people. This Hagens guy, I love him, but you got to get him some ice time. You're going to hurt the kid's confidence. This kid's going to be hurt at some point. He's going to be like, you know what, butt hurt. And I want to see this guy go out and shine.
So, Spence, I will say I sort of agree with you that assuming they make the playoffs, which they still probably will just based on the math, I don't rule – and they're playing like absolute crap right now. I just don't rule out the possibility of if they get a favorable matchup in the first round of them surprising some people and knocking off a team. Again, good goalie, high-end talent on the roster. There's no depth, but you're telling me that team isn't capable of knocking off Buffalo? I just... you might not get Buffalo now because you're playing like crap down the stretch. And there's
a lot still to be determined at the top as well. So
there is.
It's hard to really say what you've lost in these, but I still think Carolina's a troublesome thing if you end up in the
that's not happening
in the second wild card. So, but Swayman, I mean, pretty good playoff goalie. He's been good. I know. A couple years ago, what was it? The Florida series.
Yeah,
tough.
So, think about Swayman.
But before that, good playoff goalie.
The more you ask of him, the less you get, and that it's just who he's been. I think you're going to wear him down, which is why I think this team is only capable of winning one round. I mean, not to mention, too, the roster is not very good. They're hot and cold, but, Swayman, you can get something out of him in the first round. I think once you get to the second round and you put more tread on those tires, it's not going to look as good as it did from the Olympic break till now in the first round. That's just the way I see it.
Plus, you don't have it's like a soft landing. It's like a warm blanket. It's like a nice embrace of Toronto waiting for you in the first round.
Yeah, that's
which is
true.
like a rite of passage for. I mean, Tuukka had a ton of them.
Not this year.
He had one a couple years ago, and it was just like, well, they're
Toronto.
They're not going to lose to Toronto.
No.
And sure enough, they didn't.
It's going to go to 7 games, but you're not going to lose.
Yeah. So I agree he could win you a series. I don't know that it would die after one series too, but it's just you're on the margins. You're really pushing it, and you need so many things to go your way. And one thing, I just came up with this term. It's called puck luck. You can't control that.
I've heard about that.
You can't control that in the playoffs.
A lot of people big time into puck luck.
Puck luck will get you, man. I covered the Bruins. I covered every game in the 2013 season, the lockout shortened season, and so I watched every game from up level 9. It didn't make me a better hockey player, but I did get a better understanding. And it's just like, man, I don't know, 70% of these goals, it's like congestion in front, shots into traffic, tips, rebounds, misdirections, and it's just like, it's such a grind that when you don't have that high level talent to elevate you beyond that, winning. That's why I find it hard to find them to believe that they'll be winning 4 out of 7 against really anyone, because you're just living in that muck, and you don't have enough people that can lift you out of it 4 times.
How about Tim in Nashua? Hi, Tim.
So, guys, every year they try to, bring in these players that fit their system. So the system down below, you have players that have been sitting there forever. What possibly could it hurt to have the kid come up? Because what they have down there is going to stay down there. I don't like the direction that they have down below. because it seems as if those players just can't break through. It's year after year that Sweeney brings in these, his type of players. I believe that something's got to change because the actual vision of Sweeney and Neely isn't growing, the future of the Bruins. It's
veteran guys.
Mediocre and short players,
Yeah, it's veteran guys, and I'll let you go on that, Tim. Thanks a lot. Yeah, they don't develop young players. And you say, well, the system's the same in Providence. Don't overreact to the he needs to learn the system comment from Sturm. That's just coach speak. It is. He needs to learn the system. No, they don't intend to play him this year. That would be my general reaction. How about Tom in Boston? Hey, Tom.
Hi, guys. I think the reason that they won't play him, like you're saying, is it is contractual. So they get a year of his service, but he'll have no stats. So when they go to screw him in arbitration, because it takes forever to get a free agency as a hockey player, they can say, you didn't score any goals your first whole year. So that's part of the reason. The other thing I'd have to say is I don't think Sturm's done a good job. They're, below 50% in Corsi for and expected goals for. They're worse in the league. We're in front of Swayman and high danger chances. What did he tell Swayman? Just be a Vesna caliber goalie. Get benched. Marco, you suck. See you later, guys.
All right. Sounds good.
I love the cynicism in there. We're like, they will screw him in arbitration. Like, buddy, you've been around since the 25-26 season, and you only have 16 goals. What have you been doing this whole time? You know what Hagens is missing out on in Providence tonight, by the way?
What?
Star Wars night.
Oh, really? At the Amp?
At Amica Mutual Pavilion.
Yeah, sure.
It's formerly known as the artist formerly known as the Dunk. What does that entail? He's missing out on special Star Wars inspired jerseys.
Okay.
He could be doing that. Instead,
he could be dressed like Chewbacca.
Instead, he's flying to Columbus, Ohio. Characters are going to be on the concourse. He would miss out on that anyway.
That's really unfortunate.
There's a special galactic game presentation. So, these are the things he's missing out on in Providence, that playing against grown men. Also costume contests. So, I'm with you, McCarthy. I don't think either one of us really need him playing. He played a half dozen games in Providence. I'm not sure what he got out of it. I'm not
Couldn't
sure
tell you.
I can tell you the Boston Bruins got nothing out of it.
How about Bob in Vermont with a off the board thought? Hey, Bob.
Hi, guys. Great show. I was so glad that they tried to get the record with the threes the other night. I think they were dribbling the ball out to make sure that they didn't do it because they didn't want to put any more points on the board. But
the Celtics.
I think you guys have a great team.
Oh, thanks, Bob. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it was who was it that took it to the rim with like a minute left? Was it Vus? No, it was Garza. Everyone on the bench wanted him to put the three up, and he just took it to the rim and dunked it. And everyone was like, dude, you should have tried the three. It's a 28-point blowout against the Pelicans' ninth stringers.
NBA is a tough product right now. Everything you just described to me, I don't want to watch that.
I flipped to the Celtics last night. I was mostly watching the Red Sox. I flipped to the Celtics, and they were up by like 40.
Right.
And then I just looked at the NBA scoreboard, and it was all like that. It was just like this time of year, man, 30-point games all galore.
It's a rough watch. Well, you mentioned you watched the Red Sox last night.
Yes.
I mercifully missed out on it. I went to the Woo Sox game.
How'd that go? Did they win?
I saw the first cycle in Woo Sox history.
Who hit it?
Chang.
Nice.
Never heard of him.
What
before.
was the order of the cycle? Because that's if a triple is last, that is electric. If it was a single,
double, triple, home run.
Single at the end, huh?
Bunt single.
Oh, that's fun.
Chang had a great classic for the Taiwanese team.
With the throwing error, he reached third.
So it was the single.
Good throw might have gotten. But I mean, at that
put
point,
the pressure on the defense.
I mean, they had the graphic ready to go. And they were. I went upstairs last night, saw Bill Wanless up in the press box. He said, "Hey, this is in the seventh inning." He's like, "By the way, it's like Chang would be our first guy ever to get." No, I mean, I'm there. Am I paying attention to what the sixth hitter in the Woo Sox lineup is doing? Probably not.
Now you're distributing information.
Mass
media.
That's right. Now I'm interested. Now I'm invested. And everybody in the ballpark knew when he got up there he was a single shy of the cycle.
Yeah.
He laid it down.
I think you got to go most exciting final hit to complete the cycle. Like I just think you go triple,
triple,
homer, double, single, but the bunt single adds a nice little zest in there.
Now, listen, does a good throw get him? Maybe. But at that point, if you're the scorekeeper, that's a single all night.
Yeah.
They didn't even wait. The second he got on third base, they put the graphic up on the screen. First cycle in Red Sox history. They were all about it. Give the people what you want. Nobody wants to give an error in that spot.
No, you can't. You can't. Would you? Let's see what kind of person you are.
I would.
No. Let's say you're single shy of the cycle. You step up there. It's the 9th inning, or 8th inning, whatever the game situation is.
8th inning, yeah.
You pop one right into the gap. You just rip it.
Mm-hmm.
Stand up double if you want it. You stopping it first?
No, I'm going to second.
Yeah, I need my OPS. I don't. They don't. There's nothing in the stat line about cycles.
Yeah, when you're going to try and screw me in arbitration,
I need that double.
I need that OPS. I need that double.
Fair enough.
It is. The cycle is cool. It's gimmicky, but that's what it is. Like, you're right. It would have been. I mean, it was better for the Red Sox that he got on third base because of a throwing error.
Mm-hmm. Do you know who didn't have a cycle but had 3 hits on opening day?
Who's that?
Roman Anthony.
Oh, right. Yeah. Didn't play last night. From what I heard,
they didn't
miss the game mercifully.
They literally had to create runs out of thin air, which they did.
Yes.
It was pretty cool. That's how they took the lead. Could have used, but I'll tell you what. I'll tell you one reason. Maybe we can fight about this. I don't think it's that outrageous that he was on the bench.
Okay, let's do that. On the other side, let's get into the dumpster fire that was the Red Sox last night. Nothing like Dustin May shoving the bats right up your ass last night. That
with the swollen hand after getting a liner back against him.
That's not what you're looking for. We'll continue. Matt McCarthy and Mike Hurley here on the Sports Hub.
Get that, Marco. You suck.
Boston's home for sports. 98.5. In this town, sports happens 24/7. We're Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Solo tonight, 1 for 3 with a base hit. Anthony has come on deck. He would hit for Narvaez. 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Red Sox go in order in the ninth. And that's the end of a 2-game winning streak. The Cardinals take game 1 here in St. Louis. 3-2, the final score on a Friday night.
See, George is just trying to make me feel better by breaking out Jimmy World, but
You going to see them? Fleet American anniversary tour in June.
no kidding. Where are they
5
playing?
years. MGM.
Ooh.
Tell you what, that puppy sold out real fast, and it was not cheap. So the Jimmy World fans, they're coming.
What's up with concert tickets?
I
They're
know.
they're the most crazy expensive things out there. Outside of World Cup tickets.
I wanted to see Yellow Card is touring with Newfound Glory. I'm like, oh, that'll be fun.
That is right up my alley.
But so they're playing the South Boston tent.
Yeah.
It's called now.
Leader Bank.
Which is a great place to take
It
in a
is.
show, but not for me like a pop punk show. Like I want to be in a smaller room.
Yeah, yeah.
So then they added a show to that tour at the Hampton Casino Ballroom, and I'm like, perfect. Going to that. $85
to see Yellow Card in 2026.
85. And
Dude.
guess what show hasn't sold out? And I'm like, I want to go, but that is a 35. What
You
used to
let
be
me
a
know.
$35 show, I'll give you 50 now. I'll give you the inflation bump to 50. 85.
And
you got to buy 2.
Listen,
in Hampton, New Hampshire.
No.
I love Hampton. There's nowhere
Are
worth
they
paying
playing
$85.
Providence? Yeah, to see Yellow Card in 2026? I don't think so. And then that is a 35-year-old man saying that who loved Ocean Avenue. How could you not? If you were of that age, what a classic album.
It's a great one.
Sure is. No,
But
concert
that's
tickets.
that's a fun night.
It's a good time.
At 85, I'd be thinking about it the whole time. Like, is this $85 worth of fun?
You let me know.
I don't know.
Do me a favor. Keep an eye on that for me.
I need them to drop, but like that's the face. That's not resale. That's crazy.
Resale, that's like a day of kind of thing. You pull the trigger.
Someone's stuck with them and just wants to get rid of them.
Mm-hmm.
You can pull that off. It's only an hour drive.
I would do that in a heartbeat.
All right. Keep an eye out. It's June 18th.
Let me know.
Yeah.
Let me know.
Breaking sports news.
Yellow
Card,
coming
$85.
to the Hampton Beach Ballroom Casino, whatever the. I've never been there.
I've never been either. I've been to Hampton a ton.
South of town guy. Yeah.
I'm more of a Funorama guy. That's still there? I don't think so.
You're asking again, south of town. You're asking the wrong guy. That's for all you North Shore people.
Hampton, for everything about Hampton being Hampton, like the beach is nice.
Is it?
So I learned it during COVID
Is it
because
really?
nobody was there, and I'm like,
Is it
oh, the
really?
beach is nice. The beach is nice. The beach, the shoreline where the ocean hits the sand, is pretty nice.
See, that's where some things north of town does better. South of town, better beaches. No doubt about it. The Cape, Rhode Island.
I'm a Gloucester Beach guy myself.
Too rocky.
Getting a little priced out of there, though. Speaking of expensive, that's like a Yellow Card ticket to go to Good Harbor on a weekend. You kidding me?
Not paying for that. I'm not a pay for the beach guy. I'm a show up in October. Nice day in October kind of guy.
That I can see that. I can see you not sitting there baking.
Do I look like the type of person who likes the sun?
That's a fair point.
Or
by
the
you.
sand. Or people.
I love the beach. If I could live at the beach, I would. Can't afford it. As evidenced by me being unable to spend $85 on a concert ticket.
But $85 on Yellow Card though. That's one thing.
And I got to travel. Like you could pay that much to see them in Boston, but then you're in like the 76th row in a seat. That doesn't do it for me either.
You're right. That's not the right venue for it. I love that venue though.
Amazing venue.
One of the better venues in town.
When it's summer and the sea breeze is coming in and it's like dusk and you got a cold beer and it's perfect. Just I want to sort of be in the room for a Yellow Card in Newfound Glory.
Sure. Feels like not like MGM, perfect venue for that. They still doing stuff at the House of Blues now?
Yeah, I was at the House of Blues the other night for
Yeah.
the Wonder Years.
Okay.
Great show. I prefer the House of Blues. It's just a little tighter, a little more intimate. But MGM's nice too. Sometimes you want a little more space.
You know what we do need? So, with the Revs Stadium, that feels like a perfect outdoor venue, 20,000 seat, because Mansfield's just not it at this point. Great sound. I love it. A rework would be amazing down there. I feel like it needs an update.
So to me, I avoided Great Woods, for whatever sponsorship you want to call it, for 20 years. I didn't go. And then my daughter a couple years ago was big into the Imagine Dragons. Ever heard of the Dragons?
I have heard of the Dragons.
So I broke my 20-year streak, and really, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it in a way I didn't expect, because the amphitheater setup, we were in like the second set of seats, and you're like, oh, they are close. Like, I get it. The whole walking through the woods thing was nice, but I also left before the encore, so I saved myself 7 hours of traffic. So that's still the issue.
Problematic.
Getting in, getting out, always an issue.
I haven't figured that out.
Big problem, but I enjoyed the venue more than I really, maybe because, you know what, when I was going 20 years ago, I was only in the lawn.
Yeah, you never want to be in the lawn for anything at this point.
I was there for Green Day and Blink-182 in 2002, I want to say, and the fence at the front of the lawn collapsed from the weight of everyone, and just this pile of smelly, sweaty people just fell on, and then there was this rush to go steal the seats because, the fence broke. It was like chaos. Luckily, it was not where I was standing, because I was a wee boy at the time.
Real quick before we move back to the Red Sox, Scott in New Hampshire. Hi, Scott.
Hey, guys. You said that neither of you have been to the Hampton Beach Casino. You got to go check it out. It's right on the ocean, and it's normally general admission seating, so you can pretty much find your way around.
Can I ask you this, Scott?
It's a real good room.
Would you pay $85 though?
Yeah, but concerts are my thing.
Yeah.
Not for Yellow Card.
Yeah.
I'm not a Yellow Card fan, but
Who's the best act you've seen at the Hampton Ballroom? I was at Hampton when Weird Al was playing there, but I couldn't afford tickets.
I'd be totally into that.
probably Godsmack.
Nice. I saw them open for Metallica. They sounded outrageously good. Whoever their audio engineer is deserves millions of dollars.
Weird Al's playing the Garden this year. He's playing the Garden and Tanglewood on the same tour. He might be the first person ever to do that.
I would go to Weird Al in a heartbeat.
I hear he puts on a tremendous show.
How old is he?
It's got to be like early 60s at this point, right? That would be my guess.
He's been around since the 80s. He's 66.
66?
66.
No kidding.
What do you think those tickets are going for?
Way higher than you would expect, because there's something about concert tickets. Every single concert ticket is absurd.
You're not wrong.
What's it going for? What's a get-in price for Weird Al?
The loading. So the cheapest ticket you can get from the official $63.65 in the back of the balcony on the opposite end of the TD Garden. So $63 to be in the building.
It's actually not as crazy as I thought. I was thinking that'd be a three-figure thing, because everything now isn't. Don't even look at Springsteen tickets.
No,
they're $500 at this point.
Don't worry, I won't. Don't worry.
I will. I'll be there, come hell or high water.
You don't have to worry about me checking the Springsteen tickets.
I'm telling $500, get in. That secondary market has not gone down yet. I'm working every source I have.
I might have bought Metallica Sphere tickets last month. So, concert tickets.
Yeah. Pain.
It's going to be special though.
I hear that venue is unbelievable.
I hope so. Better
be. Tell you what, we'll get into the Red Sox on the other side. We were supposed to there, and then Jimmy Rolled started playing. I got distracted.
I tend to have that effect on people.
I had like a Joe Murray follow the shiny object thing.
You know what? It's Saturday afternoon. It's gorgeous out.
It is nice out.
Our minds
it's really nice.
Are going to think about nice things like concerts and beaches.
Not the Red Sox. Not that experience.
I wonder if there will be a summer of Red Sox, because
I'm really doubting it.
They had a nice little run there to stabilize. You're like, if they're going to St. Louis and Minnesota, they could come back a couple games under 500. Tough start.
I've got the lineup for you tonight.
Oh, baby.
It's an act of violence, is what I would describe it as. It's problematic. They got a managerial problem. They got a lot of problems. Managers right at the top of the list. We'll continue. Matt McCarthy, Mike Hurley, here on the Sports Hub. Do I look like the type of person who likes people?
I love the beach.
Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Miller time. It only happens if you make it happen.
Beetle, Felger and Mass, the Bruins, the Celtics, the Pats, the Revolution. This is Boston's home for sports. WBC FM at HD Boston, 98.5 The Sports Hub, a Beasley Media Group station. Essential Sports Hub headline, presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
All right, how about a little Masters update for you? Rory McIlroy is still your leader, though he's just even par today, keeping a handful of players in the mix. Cam Young has climbed into second place, just 2 strokes back, while Haotong Li and Shane Lowry are 3 strokes back at 9 under. Scotty Scheffler on fire today. He was 7 under at 65. He climbed 18 spots into a tie for 6th place. In hockey, the Bruins blew a third-period lead to Tampa and lost in regulation, costing themselves the chance to clinch the playoffs. They'll be scoreboard watching tonight, and we'll play again tomorrow at 6 p.m. in Columbus. You can, of course, hear that game right here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Celtics, they have tonight off after blowing out the Pelicans last night and clinching the 2 seed in the East. They'll finish their regular season tomorrow in Orlando. That game will be on sister station 105.7 WROR. And the Red Sox play Game 2 of their series in St. Louis tonight. They lost last night to fall to 4-9 on the year. Ranger Suarez on the bump tonight, looking to make his first good start in a Red Sox uniform. He's 0-1 with an 8.31 ERA after 2 starts with Boston. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Super Service Today. Upgrade your home with an electric heat pump system from Super Service Today to stay cool this winter. Cool this summer, warm all winter, and save on energy costs while reducing your carbon footprint. For a free estimate, visit superservicetoday.com. I'm Michael Hurley, and those are your Sports Hub headlines.
Listen to it, laugh at it, get mad at it, agree with it, argue about it. It is Boston Sports. Boston Sports. And it is all we do. 98.5, The Sports Hub. When it comes to Boston sports, we're fans just like you. 98.5, The Sports Hub.
You gotta play everybody.
Right.
I mean, Masa, he's putting good at bats. We need him to keep going. JD didn't play a few games during the week. This is the rotation, and we're gonna maximize the roster. And today was his day. He's ready to bench hit. But if he can get a full day off, that'll be great. 2 in a row, and then he'll play the rest of the road trip.
You feel like the guys are getting into a rhythm with that? How you kind of mixing it up to this point?
I hope so. I'm starting to feel more comfortable the way I'm going to use them during the game. It's a learning experience. It's different, right? To manage this roster and maximize, their abilities and when we're going to use them, when they're going to use them. And I think little by little feel, comfortable with what we're trying to accomplish.
It's Alex for a pregame last night on why he sat Roman Anthony. It's all a part of the rotation. So I'm glad to hear that Roman Anthony isn't special and he's just a part of the rotation, because that's how it is, huh? I get it. It's one game. Is that an overreaction? Probably. But it speaks to a roster that does not work. That's where we're at. Matt McCarthy, Michael Hurley, and the Red Sox, after winning 2 games against Milwaukee, kind of beating them at their own game Tuesday and Wednesday at Fenway Park, go to St. Louis in what should be an easy landing spot with Dustin May on the mound, who is terrible. And the Red Sox don't hit last night. Roman Anthony never picks up a bat. I get it. He hasn't had a great start to the year, but he still is your best hitter. And that's a low bar because they don't have a lot of good hitters, and their lineup sucks, and they've got too many outfielders, and the roster doesn't work and all of that. But I don't know how. What type of message does that send the team? I mean, there's no urgency tonight.
It's
really,
the rotation.
It's the rotation. Well, Anthony's better than all of those guys, so it really shouldn't be a rotation. So what Cora is implying there is this is going to keep happening. Anthony's not going to sit as much as Duran. He's not going to sit as much as Yoshida, but he's going to sit a fair amount. He's going to sit a partial share, whatever that is. The roster doesn't work. I think a lot of Red Sox fans were upset by that last night. You were not necessarily upset by that?
Well, I'll answer that in a second, but this is not, you're 13 games into the season?
Yeah.
4-9? I've done my math.
Sure.
This was not an unknown. We knew all offseason. It's like, well, they got to move Duran. They've got to move Yoshida. They simply have too many outfielders / DHs. You are going to run into this problem. And you want to bench. You got to put Abreu on the bench. You got to put. Rafaela has not. His defensive impact previously made it ridiculous to bench him. Maybe not this year, but you're going to have to put these guys on the bench for full games, and it's just unsustainable for a good team to be doing that. Like, you don't, if you were in McCarthy, we talk about that as if you have an infield full of hitters, you know?
They do not.
It's crazy. But the reason, like, on the surface, yes, Roman Anthony is your top, your star of the future.
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing? Do you know what his numbers are since opening day? 3 for 4 on opening day.
They're bad.
Since opening day.
They're not good.
He's hitting 167.
He hasn't hit.
His OPS 565. 1 double, 1 triple, 1 homer in that time. 2 RBIs. 5 walks, 15 strikeouts, which in modern baseball, I don't know how to evaluate people that strike out. But the point is, he's not really proven that he shouldn't be benched in this rotation, such as it is.
Mm-hmm.
So, on the one hand, like, yes, Roman Anthony should probably be playing every day. He's going to be a great player. At the same time, I don't know. And one other thought on Roman Anthony and the way he's being used. I've found it interesting since the start of the year. Like, Marcelo Meyer is going to be one of your guys going forward too, right? Long term, you think? One of your top.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, they've built the entire franchise around Anthony and Meyer, so yeah.
But yet, Anthony's spot was obvious this year. Meyer seemed to have to earn it in spring training. And then the lineup, like Roman Anthony and leading off every night, leadoff spot, Meyer 6th. And it's just like there's sort of like, if you think Meyer's going to be your 2-hitter eventually, why isn't he your 2-hitter now? Like, why are they afraid to try to force that development? Where with Anthony, they're like, no, he's our leadoff guy.
Little different. I mean, Anthony has far surpassed Meyer in regards to, prospect standing within the organization. I've said for weeks now, months really, going back to last year, like, the term Big Three is insulting to Roman Anthony because that implies that Marcelo Meyer and Christian Campbell are anywhere near Anthony's level. He's far and away better than them. So I hear what you're saying on that. The point being is they're asking, and also they're trying to wake Meyer up. Meyer is a guy who has gotten by on talent alone. He's gotten by on good looks too. I think that's the best way to describe Marcelo Meyer. He's gotten by on good looks.
I will say this: defense
on and off the field.
Bad acting, not good acting.
Not a very good actor.
But defense is part of the game too.
It is, and he is smooth.
Far superior to Big One Roman Anthony.
And far superior, by the way, to Trevor Story. But they won't put Meyer at short and Story at second because, well, we don't want to hurt Trevor's feelings and move him off of shortstop, even though we're all about run prevention.
This is the broken brain of mine. They got Story when Bogarts was still on the team, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
And he played second base, correct?
He did.
And was fine with it, right?
Sure, yeah.
Right?
But they pretty much told him, this is 1 year. We're not re-signing Bogarts. Just do it.
There's the rotation.
They're a mess, man. They're a mess. You want today's lineup?
I would love today's lineup. First, I want to check how many. You still got another Trevor Story season after this, and a 28-28 option.
Can't wait. There's a reason why Trevor Story didn't opt out, because he knew last year wasn't sustainable, and the rest of baseball knew last year wasn't sustainable. If he thought in any way that there was going to be a market coming off of what, didn't he go 25-25 last year?
Maybe
25
30.
Home runs?
Maybe
30 steals, something like that.
He definitely had 30 steals. I guess he didn't get there with
he didn't get there with the home runs, but
he was 30 for 30 in steals, or 29 for 29 before he got caught.
He was great for them last year. He had a vintage Trevor Story season for the second half of the year, because he just is that type of player who gets red hot and sucks otherwise. But if Trevor Story knew, that is the type of, he had the type of season last year where you go out on the open market and you get a major contract. And he didn't think for a second about opting out. He opted in. He made it very clear, I'm opting in. You know why? Because he knew there was no market, because baseball knows what type of player he is. And he's back to being that type of player.
Difficult to not get $75 million on the open market these days in baseball.
Very difficult. Trevor Story wasn't going to get it, though, because nobody believes in him. Right, as we see from the beginning of this year. But sure, let's just trot him out there at shortstop every day.
Where's he hitting tonight?
Trevor Story actually is hitting 6th tonight.
Okay.
That's not necessarily dropping him in the order. That's more because we have now recommitted ourselves to the idea that Caleb Durbin is your number 2 hitter.
Got to have Caleb Durbin in there.
Have to.
The way that he can step in and roll over to third on one pitch is just electric.
It's remarkable. He doesn't strike out. He might be the only guy on the team who doesn't strike out. He just doesn't hit the ball out of the infield.
Did you know something no one ever talks about him? Finished third in the NL Rookie of the Year voting last year. Like at a certain point,
Boy, they must have had some really bad rookies in the NL last year.
You just still hear that sometimes. It's like, okay, we're talking about third place in the Rookie of the Year. Like, look at the list of Rookies of the Year. Like, some of them turn out to be Shohei Ohtani. Most of them don't.
Rookie of the Year, in all seriousness, has to be
Random.
the most worthless. Worthless award in baseball, right?
It's up there. Like, and like I said, sometimes you'll see like Mike Trout, Rookie of the Year, and you're like, yeah. But other times it's like Matt McCarthy. And you're like, oh, I remember him.
Sort of. Eric Hinsky, yeah.
Guys that are MLB players, but it doesn't really amount. So finishing third,
sure,
it's not doing it for me. I'm not seeing the vision.
Actually, NL Rookie of the Year history is pretty good.
Yeah,
Skeens in 2024, Corbin Carroll in 2023, Devin Williams, Pete Alonso, Ronald Acuna Jr., Cody Bellinger, Corey Seager, Chris Bryant, Jacob deGrom, Jose Fernandez, Bryce Harper.
Good run.
That's pretty good.
I guess my take was established.
Craig Kimbrell, Buster Posey. That's going back to 2010. That's
a good run.
That's a pretty good list right there.
So
that is
let's
better
look
better than I thought.
I guess we got to look at all the people that finished third.
Right, exactly. Well, this hope for Caleb Durbin. That's an act of violence right there. Caleb Durbin batting second. You've got to be kidding me.
He's hitting 103 with a 186 on base percentage. He can't get on base.
He is terrible. He's bad at baseball. He is a He's awful hitter.
Surprisingly effective at third base considering his body type. Every time he makes a play, you're like, really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So
good for him.
I'll give him credit defensively. He's fine.
Good for the little guy.
He's fine at third base.
Yeah, he doesn't suck there.
It's tough to look at.
There are a number of times where you see him dive for a ball and you're like, well, if only you were a normal sized human, you know.
I mean, some of us aren't tall, so I'm not judging. You don't see it on the big league diamond too often.
Do I look down on people who aren't? Yes. Yeah. Yes, I do. Literally and figuratively.
You are enormous. You barely fit in the parking garage walking in.
It's tough. The world's not made for us. But it's also not made for Caleb Durbin either. Clearly, with his 103 batting average?
103, 186 on base. He does have an OPS over 300.
That's impressive. And that's your number 2 hitter.
That's crazy.
That is... Alex Cora has had a terrible year. And I look at last night, and he does this whole thing. Well, this is the roster. We're going to maximize the roster. This is the rotation, which you could interpret maybe as a shot at the front office. Putting Caleb Durbin in the 2-hole is a shot at the front office.
Who do you want there? Meyer?
Literally anybody else but Caleb Durbin.
Today was his day.
It's just not. They don't have a lineup.
I know they don't.
You have Roman Anthony.
I know.
And
but here's the thing. You're not helping Roman Anthony, who, to your point, and it's well taken, has struggled this year. How are you helping Roman Anthony by protecting him in the lineup with Caleb Durbin? Is Roman Anthony going to get a damn pitch to hit tonight? With Durbin behind him?
Probably not.
No way.
I'd almost rather, like you said, anyone. I would almost rather say it on Rafaela.
Yes.
Because at least he brings speed.
Yeah.
And he has some clutch hits. Like he has that little clutch element that if it's say you're down by a run in the late innings and it's a runners on the corner with one out and you get a 3-1 meatball down the middle like Masataka Yoshida had last night, he's not going to just look at it. We know he's going to swing at it.
No, he'll swing it at
I'm not sure he'll see a fifth pitch in a bat, but work with me. I think you want someone that's going to attack the baseball. And that's another, like last night, Masa Yoshida batting third. Why?
Can't happen.
Why?
And Yoshida's been one of their better hitters in the last week, but that's not saying something.
It's a problem. It's a problem.
Oh, the lineup's terrible. It's awful. It's wretched. I don't know how else to describe it. I mean, it is.
Do you know what else you missed last night while you were enjoying the Woo Sox?
What was that?
It was I have it written down, the first inning.
Okay.
Top of the first. They're on the road. They start the game at the plate. Sure. Wilson Contreras, I assume, was batting cleanup.
Yeah, because Yoshida was batting third. Yep.
So it was a 2-2 pitch, called strike 3. He says, no. We're going to challenge that.
Oh, went to the helmet.
We're going to challenge that. It was wrong.
Sure.
Just a stupid, selfish. It just puts you at such a disadvantage for the rest of the game because you can't risk it. Like, you have to be right for any other challenge, and you have to wait to the late innings. And it's just like...
So a runner on base?
There was a guy on.
Yeah.
But it was 2 outs. I think Yoshida got hit before him. I think Yoshida got hit in the foot. So he's your best hitter right now, right? Like Wilson Contreras is your best hitter.
By far.
And he's starting starting fights while maybe getting grazed on the hand pad, and then
With the
challenging
runner on first base, yes.
And then
spiking the second baseman, yeah.
yeah, he's literally creating chaos for you for no reason, and he's wasting your challenge in the top of the first against Dustin May on like a 38-degree night in St. Louis when there's 6,000 people in the stands. Like it seems like everything is going wrong for them, and they had a decent little recovery there.
They did.
You think they're going to go to St. Louis? They're going to go to Minnesota. They're going to come home 8-10.
I mean, with Dustin May on the mound, too, to start it. I mean, that's as bad as it gets. That guy, we can attest, is terrible. He is a bad pitcher. Has never been good. Highly touted, like a lot of guys, by the way.
Do you want to know everything you want to know about Dustin May? Is the Los Angeles Dodgers, would you say they are championship-driven as an organization?
I would argue, yes, they are championship-driven.
Would you say that last year they were aiming to win the World Series?
Probably, yeah.
Do you think that was in their goals to win the World Series last year?
I think it was, yeah. I mean, I think they wrote that down at the beginning of the year. I think they were trying to manifest it, yes.
And they gave you Dustin May. They said, here, have him. We'll take a minor league outfielder.
Good. Yeah,
we don't need him. Like, whatever.
You can take this guy off of our major league roster when we're trying to win a World Series. When we are the favorites to win the World Series. Here is a guy from our major league team. Never a good sign. Never a good sign.
That's all you need to know. And he shoved last night. 6 innings, 2 runs.
By the way, James Tibbs, who they traded for him.
Oh, he's hitting 4 home runs a night.
Red hot. Why can't they get players like that?
He could be hitting for the cycle in Worcester, but instead, it would be funny though if you take this outfield mix that we already talked has 6 guys to play 4 positions. Throw another one in there.
Why not? He can play first base, can he?
I guess
I mean, their attitude has been anybody can play first base.
That's true. It's not hard to play first base in Major League Baseball. Anyone could do it. Put Roman Anthony there.
They're a dumpster fire.
Well,
I don't know how. I mean, organizationally, it's just everything's a mess. What Cora is doing right now, Durbin in the 2-hole. That is once again an Alex Cora protest. That's him saying, "You see what I have to deal with." He's not wrong. The lineup sucks. But can you not protest in complete? I mean, it is detrimental to the team what you are doing.
I hope we get that Alex Cora back though from before he signed the extension. That guy was great.
Hey, listen, is he entertaining for our purposes? Yes, but I'm thinking about this from a fan. I don't want my manager sabotaging the team, and putting Caleb Durbin in the 2-hole is sabotaging the team. I get it. You don't have a lot to work with, but you can't put up the giant LED screen and say, "See what I have to deal with? Look at what they gave me," because that's his approach. Caleb Durbin batting second 2 nights in a row. Roman Anthony on the bench last night doesn't grab a bat, doesn't hit in a 1-run game. That is a manager who is protesting to the detriment of the team, saying, "Well, this is the roster we have. You gave me 5 outfielders for 3 spots. Yeah, okay, we get it. Craig Breslow sucks at his job. Understood. I don't need you to prove it to me by the way you manage. I have eyes. I can look at this thing. I can look at a lineup that goes Anthony, Durbin, Duran, Contreras, Abreu, Story, Meyer, Narvaez, Rafaela, and say that's not good enough. I don't need your help with it by putting Caleb Durbin, tiny little Caleb Durbin, second. I have eyes. Mostly I can see him. It's hard. You kind of have to squint, but I can see him in the 2-hole. I can find him there.
Not the bat boy. He's not the bat boy.
No, he's not. Hits like the bat boy.
But it's another issue that like you did incidentally scrape there. Your best hitter is probably Willie Abreu and has to bat 5th because you have too many lefties. And he's not a leadoff guy.
Roster doesn't work. I see on the phone lines. We'll take care of you. We went long. 617-779-0985. Matt McCarthy and Michael Hurley talking Sox. It's a real joy, isn't it?
Time is in St. Louis right now.
Hold us accountable. Let's see where we are.
Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Celtics, the Patriots, the Sox, the Revs, and you. We're Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Obviously, there's some nights where you string hits together. Yeah. And tonight, quick at bats, no walks. Was it kind of just a line with a movement type of thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think early too, we put a bunch of balls in play hard, just on the ground and at people, and we weren't able to kind of create momentum off of that. And then we had a quick fifth, and I think that, like I said, he made a bunch of competitive pitches. I think he was at 70 pitches through 5 around there. So credit to him for executing.
How would you just describe the offensive performance through 13 games?
There's more to be desired. I think we know what we're capable of doing. I think, like I said, I've said this before, we've been through stretches where, offense is hard to come by, and I think we know our processes are strong. It's just a matter of stringing things together. And I think, to your point on taking walks, when we're putting ourselves to get on base, put ourselves in position to score more runs, good things happen, and I think that's, just keeping the line moving is the most important thing right now.
Hey, Mike, do you know who that is? That voice you just heard?
I mean, you always hear from Alex Cora, right? So that wasn't him.
No.
You hear from Craig Breslow once in a while. That certainly wasn't him. Who was that doing a post-game press conference last night?
That was the hitting coach, Pete Fatse. Have you ever heard Pete Fatse speak before?
Not until last night, and I'll tell you, that was tough to listen to. Not because anything he was saying, just because the look in his eyes. He got a feeling that, things aren't going. When the hitting coach has to do a post-game press conference after losing to Dustin May, things are not going well.
There's more to be desired.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I texted some people this morning. I said, does Fatse ever speak? And the response I got was pretty much almost never. Maybe a couple times a year. I mean, obviously, it's really only going to happen when things are going poorly. But this is the first time I can ever remember Nesson posting a video of, the hitting coach standing in front of the, the Red Sox logo backdrop and answering questions from the media. That poor guy. And I get it. Red Sox fans want him fired. Sure, fire Pete Fatse. I don't think that's your problem. That's not your issue. You want to scapegoat Pete Fatse? Well, sure, fine. That's not going to change anything.
Just keeping the line moving is the most important thing right now.
Yet the line has Caleb Durbin in it. What do you expect?
The line's tough to move. The line. I would argue against firing him just because, like you said, he would be the scapegoat of all scapegoats. This lineup is the lineup. I don't look at the hitting coach when things are going well and say, wow, he's great. And I don't look at him when it's going poorly and say he stinks. These are big league players.
Yeah.
They need a little adjustments here and there, but this is not on him. But the look in his eyes last night, I felt bad.
No, that's a man. Those are the last comments before walking up to the guillotine. That's the poor guy. It's not his fault. Now, I have no idea if he's a good hitting coach. I couldn't tell you. I know he was coaching high school players in Western Mass 15 years ago. I know that. Other than that, I couldn't tell you anything about Pete Fatse. I met him once. Very nice guy. I'm sure he's
like a nice guy.
Great guy. I think he's a Cora guy. In the end, it's not him. It's the lineup. And if you're firing him, you're not fixing the problem. Are firings on the table? Should they be on the table for this team?
Well, I wanted to ask you that last segment is we look at this problem, like the glut of people in the outfield, in DH, whatever you want to call it. And where do you place the blame? Like ultimately, Breslow is running this year's team, so if there were issues, he could have and should have fixed it. I understand, but when you get into contractually and like the Yoshida contract is not Craig Breslow's fault.
No, that is Chaim Bloom's fault. Thank you, Chaim. Still cleaning up his mess.
Duran not being traded after the 24 season, where's the blame go there?
Chaim Bloom. No, sorry, Craig Breslow.
That was Breslow had just been hired, right?
Yes.
That was that year?
That was Breslow's second year on the job. He had had 1 full year on it.
Okay, so I mean, there's a reason there, but maybe they believed he was going to be that player.
I'll be honest. I don't think they believed he was going to be that player because
they should have traded him.
I think they tried to trade him after 24. They definitely tried to trade him after 25. There's been plenty of reporting on that. Jeff Passan, with the reporting before the winter meetings that the Red Sox valued Jarren Duran as a 7-win player, a 7-WAR player. The rest of the league valued him like a 4-WAR player, which he was in 2025. So the Red Sox say, well, we're not going to trade him for less than he's totally worth. That's great and all. You can hold on to him and say we're winning on the value of the trade, but you have too many outfilders, no infielders. So how does that work?
You could get
I'm
some
still
prospects.
adamant and committed to picking a lane.
But then you have other guys that have earned their way here, like earned their way there, like Willie Abreu earned a spot as an everyday big leaguer over the past couple of years. Cedar Rafaela last year earned a spot in center field with his. I thought last year he was one of the best defensive center fielders in the entire world.
He was.
This year he is not.
No.
So maybe that is someone that if his defense isn't there, I don't think he needs to hold up a spot in the 9 spot.
Certainly don't think so. And I know he's a righty, and they don't have any of those because the roster doesn't work. And again, let's hold on. Let's place a value. And if we're not going to get 100 cents on the dollar for the player, then there's no way we're trading him, even though you have too many outfielders, and the whole world knows you have too many outfielders. So why would they give you 100 cents on the dollar for Jarren Duran in 2024 when it's 2026 and they know you need to move on from him because your roster doesn't work? Not to mention, too, there are just questions about Jarren Duran.
Well,
it is what it is. Like,
well,
you
yeah.
know, it's.
But so blame-wise, I'd put ownership, too, with Yoshida because it's just sort of like nobody wanted him last year. Nobody wants him this year. You got to bite the bullet. You signed a bad deal.
Designate him for assignment.
You took a risk.
Which you could do if you had a better lineup. But Yoshida is still one of your better hitters.
I don't know.
The problem is,
and then lastly, obviously, Roman Anthony, just to finish the picture, earning his way onto the big league team, can't throw, which is another problem, which is a whole other problem in and of itself. But at least you understand why he's in the picture. So blame-wise, I don't know, a little bit, half on Breslow, half on Bloom, that's 3 halves. Half on ownership.
Some Red Sox math you're doing right there. No, everybody is to blame here. The organization is obviously dysfunctional. And I don't think Cora is helping with that dysfunction either. I think he has had a terrible start to this year. Caleb Durbin batting second. What?
He had a chance last night when they were in the double steal to literally manufacture a run in St. Louis. You know, a little NL old school small ball there. After winning small ball against the Brewers on Wednesday, you're like, all right, the manager's working a little bit. It didn't last.
How about Nick on the South Shore? Nick.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about Jarren Duran. I mean, you had an opportunity to move this guy, and they're evaluating him with a 7+ WAR. I mean, you could have moved him for a handful of infielders. I've eaten meals at Chipotle that have generated more runs in my underwear than this guy has generated this year. You just can't have him on the major league roster. He's got to go. He had value. Now he has probably no value. And I just don't know where you go from here with moving that guy off the roster. Also, McCarthy, shout out Hornstra Farms, great ice cream on the South Shore. Love you. Thank you.
Where is it? Hold on. Where on the South Shore?
Hornstra Farms. I believe it's in Hanover,
Okay.
Norwell,
All right.
Norwell line. Great ice cream. They got baby cows. You can go in there and see. You get the whole kit and caboodle when you go to that place.
You see, Nick is a listener because he knows I love an ice cream place where they got the cows out back. Those are the.
That's how you know.
Yeah.
Even if they ship the ice cream in, you get the cows out back.
No. I want the ice cream made on premises. I want it there. I want the cow that's producing. I want to be able to speak with the cow. Ask like, how's this
the
process
milk
going?
today? Yeah.
Yeah. How's this process going here? Everything good? Horns. No, I've heard about it. I haven't.
Now you got to
I'm
be
a
about
South
it.
Shore guy. I don't live down there anymore, so I got to find it.
You got a car. Hey,
I do have a car. Yes, but
Matt McCarthy, it's in your name. Speaking of Jarren Duran in the lineup, a guy who seemingly has to bat at the top of the lineup.
Yes, but
what has he earned that? He's batted third primarily, lead
all
off a
year.
couple times, second once.
He's a leadoff hitter. At his best, he's a
in
leadoff
theory. He's at the top of the lead, top of the batting order, based on, hey, maybe he'll be good again, and it's just not based on the reality.
Well, last weekend they pinch hit for him against a lefty in the 8th inning. That's your number 3 hitter, and you're pinch hitting for him with Andrew Monasterio. That's not great. The caller's totally right about Jarren Duran. I mean, they totally missed, and you could have seen this coming for a mile. I was pounding the table after 2024. Sell high.
Incredible season.
Incredible season. He's never going to do that again because he's not that player. He's too inconsistent. He's not a good defender.
He's not young.
He's not young. There's a reason why they haven't given him a contract. They've given every young player they have a contract. Say what you will about the way, spending money. They do like spending money on young players because they believe in it. Would want to pay a guy in his 20s instead of the 30. Now, I think there are some flaws in that belief. I'm not here to debate the philosophy of how the Red Sox spend their money or whether or not they actually do spend their money. I'm going to keep this to the baseball. They don't believe in Jarren Duran because they shouldn't believe in Jarren Duran because he's not that good a baseball player. And you know who knows that? Everybody around baseball, which is why he hasn't been traded yet, because they demand a 7-WAR return for a player who obviously isn't a 7-WAR player. But now you wonder why he's still on the roster when he could have gotten you something. If you were willing to take 80 cents on the dollar for a player to go get an infielder, to go get something you don't have for something that you do have, that's just building a roster. But you have a GM who's not interested in building a roster, but is interested in winning value. Because he doesn't understand it. Because he's not qualified for the job, and he wasn't qualified for the job in the first place. There's a reason why he was the 12th guy they asked.
Are you saying the remote pitching consultant for the Cubs who worked from halfway across the country was not prepared to run one of the most scrutinized, I would say richest baseball teams, but I don't know, I guess technically richest baseball teams in the world?
I'm going to say that. Yeah, I'm going to say the guy who is trotting out a lineup featuring Caleb Durbin.
Well, that's why I think we can get on the player. We can get on Duran individually. We can get on Yoshida individually. We can get on Anthony individually. But you look at how they scored 2 runs last night. One of them was on a double play ball that Trevor Story didn't hit hard enough for it to be a double play. So a run was scored. The throw was late anyway. It was an error to get but so that's how they scored one. And then the other was on a double steal. Story coming around the back end. That's a whole baseball game. That's how you scored. And they were not playing. They're playing a team in rebuild. They're playing a team that can't even get people in the ballpark.
Yes, no, they're playing a team that you were and basically still are. These Chaim Bloom run St. Louis Cardinals, who were very happy, by the way, to trade you 2 of their best players for nothing because they don't want to win. I mean, imagine where the Red Sox would be without Sonny Gray and Wilson Contreras.
Chaim is in St. Louis right now.
And thank God he is. I mean, Breslow's really bad at his job. He's not as bad as that guy.
Well, I think I would give Bloom his work on the draft. You got Anthony and Meyer out of that era. Right. But, I mean, they were picking pretty high.
Right, they were picking extraordinarily high. I'd also say Marcelo Meyer is no sure thing at this point.
His problems were more, to me, trade deadline, never having sort of the gumption to be a big market GM at the deadline.
He had no balls.
Yeah.
No balls.
Well, I said gumption. You said balls.
He wasn't interested in building a major league winner. He's interested in doing exactly what he's doing in St. Louis, which is, well, I'm going to get good value for Sonny Gray. I'm going to get Hunter Dobbins, who's cost controlled, and we'll make that trade. No, I'm sorry, he got Dick Fitz. He didn't get Hunter Dobbins. No, did he get?
They're the same guy.
They literally are the same guy.
I do the same thing.
Yeah, I forget. All I know is the Red Sox got the better major league player because Chaim Bloom's never interested in that. But if you go from Chaim Bloom to Craig Breslow, where are you going to end up? 4-9, exactly where they are.
Fitz is on the Cardinals.
Cool. Good for
him.
Well,
he's in the Cardinals organization.
Did Dobbins go there for Contreras?
I'll tell you in a second.
Who did they trade Dobbins for? Literally all the same guy.
All the same guy. He's also on the Cardinals.
Yep, there you go.
Traded for Wilson Contreras. He was the Contreras trade.
Yep, right. Imagine where they'd be without those 2 guys. They'd be 1 and whatever. Frank and Revere. Hey, Frank.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Better than Rory McIlroy. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, very good. It's obvious that they are what they are. They stink. They'll never do anything without a middle of the lineup bat, a big bat. They don't hit home runs. You got to have a few home runs. But seeing what they have, and he likes to shake things up. How about this? It's off the map a little bit. Rafaela, he's not what he was in the outfield. You're right. Why don't you move him into second base?
Yeah.
Put Meyer at third, and now in the outfield you got the Abreu, you got Duran, I guess. You got Anthony, and Yoshida would be the 4th guy.
Frank.
And you get rid of Durbin. You sit him down. I mean, Cora likes to juggle this stuff. Would this be an option just to play around with?
I've been saying this for a week, Frank. Because this lineup is so bad, You have to get your best 9 offensively out there. And the best way to do that is to move Rafaela to second base and Meyer to third. Now, I'd actually argue Story to second, Meyer to short, Rafaela to third, but whatever. Because of the roster they have once again built, Rafaela needs to go to the dirt because they have too many outfielders. And are they at their best defensively when Rafaela's in center field? Yes, although not this year. Well,
I was vehemently against that last year because of how good he was at center.
He's not played well.
No, he missed one last night in the second inning, and that is the reason Connolly Early had to leave the game in the 5th inning because he had to throw 35 pitches in the second inning because the leadoff guy reached, granted, not an easy play, hit directly over Rafaela's head as he's running toward the wall, but it landed, it hit the base of the wall. It was catchable, and last year he was catching every one of those, and that's something that's been there's at least 3 of those this year where you're like, he has that last year easily.
So for a team that's supposed to be built around pitching and run prevention, theoretically, I hate the idea of moving Rafaela to the infield where that will make you worse defensively. That being said, they are so bad offensively, there has to be a trade-off, and they're not serious about run prevention anyway.
Anthony.
Don't let them tell you they're serious about run prevention because Trevor Story's playing shortstop. And he's not the best shortstop on the team. He's not the second best shortstop on the team because Kiner Falefa's a better shortstop than him.
That's a good point.
So don't tell me you're serious about run prevention and then put precious Trevor Story out at shortstop because you love him so much.
What if they're just waiting for him to get hurt? He gets hurt a lot.
And they're probably waiting for Meyer to get hurt too. You'll have a middle infield eventually of Kiner Falefa and Monasterio. Give it a month.
And that was the you mentioned that the other day. What's the solution at the 2-hole? Andrew Monasterio. So like, listen, the callers has said nothing wrong. You've said nothing wrong. There is no answer though. There's no answer.
You want my best answer? We work this out.
The lineup?
Yeah.
You're going to build the lineup right now.
I'm going to build the lineup.
Who's batting leadoff? Start there. Duran at leadoff.
Batting leadoff.
Okay, yeah, he's going to give you a big night. Who's in the 2 spot? Can't go lefty.
Christ, I don't know.
Can't go lefty.
Roman Anthony. No, you can go lefty in that spot.
Because he's that good.
Because Anthony can hit lefties. Duran can. And you're going to pinch hit for Duran against lefties anyway.
All right.
So I'm going Duran, Anthony.
It's big bopper time. Time for the big boppers.
Contreras.
Fine.
You have to get Contreras behind Anthony. You got to get the kid going. You're not helping him by putting Caleb Durbin behind him. Like, Corey, you idiot.
Or Story.
You're not helping. Help the kid out. He's 21 years old. And the best way to help the kid out and get him a pitch to hit is to put the only guy in your lineup who can hit behind him. Contreras has to bat behind Anthony. So Contreras, Abreu. There's your top 4. Duran, Anthony, Contreras, Abreu.
Functionally, theoretically fine.
Yeah, but Duran has to hit, which he probably won't. Anthony hasn't hit yet. Contreras is ideally a 5 or a 6 hitter on a championship team. He's your 3 hitter, but
your leadoff spot can be whatever. That 2, 3, 4 makes too much sense.
But Cora won't do it. He won't do it because he's too busy protesting the front office.
Just even Abreu batting 5th all year.
It's too far down. You need to get the whole thing about we need to bat Roman Anthony first so he gets the most. So he gets the most at bats.
That's what you do when you have Aaron Judge the MVP or Shohei Ohtani the MVP.
Yeah.
It's weird to do for a 21-year-old.
The attitude of, we need to do this so we get the best hitter up at the top of the lineup so he gets more at bats, yet you won't bat Abreu any higher than 5th, essentially. It's asinine. It makes no sense. So there you go. There's
you
your
sold
top
me
4.
on the 2, 3, 4.
There's your top 4.
I might quibble with your leadoff spot, but I don't know that I have a better answer.
Who's batting lead? I mean, I think the way to get the most out of Duran is to bat him leadoff and
hope. Hope he starts turning singles into doubles again like he did 2 years ago.
Story bats 5th, which I hate, but you don't have any other righties.
Narvaez. He was batting cleanup for a while last year.
No, Story, and he's been Story bats 5th. Then Yoshida's your DH. He bats 6th. Narvaez.
Just don't even finish.
Meyer.
Don't even bother.
Rafaela.
Yeah, it's not making much
Duran,
difference.
Anthony, Contreras, Abreu, Story, Yoshida, Narvaez, Meyer, Rafaela. That's your best lineup right there. It sucks, but that's your best lineup.
Fine.
Glad I sold you on that. You seem very enthused, as we all are, by that lineup.
Let's go Red Sox. That's what I'm getting out of that.
We got to talk about what Rory McIlroy's doing today. We'll do that next. No balls.
Well, I said gumption, and you said balls.
Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Is your foundation repair project stuck on the ground?
what team, no matter what player, no matter what coach, no matter what game, it all happens here. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Take a look at that man on your screen there. I was gone, but that was a very dejected Rory McIlroy, Michael Hurley. You are a golf guy. I know this because we once played George Wright together, and I determined from that experience that you are a golf guy.
Big time. I love golf.
Golf is great.
Terrible at it. Played it since I could walk, basically. You'd never know it if you went out on the golf course with me.
Sell yourself short.
A 20 handicap, and I'm okay with it. I have no aspirations of being better than that. I just love golf. When I'm out on the golf course with someone like Matt McCarthy or anyone else, I just take a moment. I'm like, I'm very lucky to be able to go on this 4.5-hour walk through the woods hitting this silly ball.
It is the dumbest thing I do, and I love it. And I'm a 25 handicap, so I look at you and I say, yeah, you're a pretty good player.
That guy's nasty.
That guy's pretty good. You know who's not good when things matter? Rory McIlroy. So Cam Young's in the lead now at the Masters. 11 under through 16. Rory is having a meltdown at Amen Corner. He is 10 under. It has been uneven today for Rory, but he doubled on 11.
He looks like me out there. When they just showed him in the woods with his arms crossed trying to figure out what the hell he's doing, he looked like me being like, man, was my right arm crossing my left arm?
Is this Rory again?
Were my hips moving before my upper body?
Jeez, he's in the pine straw on 13. He's a par 5.
Problem.
This is an absolute meltdown going on right now. And here's the thing. He had such a cushion entering today.
We were worried there was going to be no Sunday.
There's going to be a Sunday tomorrow. Young at 11, McIlroy at 10, Lowry's at 9, Burns at 9, Rose is at 8, Jason Day back from the dead. He's at 8. Scotty Scheffler had a big day. He's at 7. We are going to have a great Sunday tomorrow. That is what it's shaping up to be. It is moving day. It's living up to its name at Augusta. But
Hao Tong Lee, unfortunately, reverted back to living in the toilet.
That's where he was the gentleman who had
Thursday night into Friday.
He had an incident.
Said he was living in the toilet. He was hot today, but he's put a couple in the water, I believe.
I mean, he and McIlroy both. I wonder if Rory got one.
You know what the best story would be?
What?
Who's that there in 8th place?
Scheffler.
7 under today, was out of it.
Yep.
He's now only 4 shots back.
You a Scotty guy?
Oh yeah.
I'm really not.
No?
I don't know why.
You know what it was?
Rory guy,
you know what it was?
I like losers. I mean, this guy's won a career.
Well, I was telling you earlier, I followed Rory around in Norton.
Mm-hmm.
Rest in peace to that tournament.
How much do you miss that tournament?
It's outrageous. I could do 7 hours on how outrageous it is that there's no Massachusetts tournament.
It's absurd.
We were supposed to go to Connecticut,
and I get
on a summer weekend. I'm not going to go to. All due respect to Connecticut, I'm not going.
I get it. Norton's not hard enough for those guys. Dustin Johnson shot 30 under the last tournament there, but that was awesome. Labor Day weekend, I miss it so much.
I miss everything about the old format and the old playoff setup. Like it was too good to be true, I suppose.
But you followed Rory. I did it too. It's a great experience.
And this was like 10 years ago. Rory was known, but wasn't, number one golf superstar in the world.
Here comes this Irish guy. I think we were at the same tournament as the one he won, right?
Probably, because I followed him around in the 3rd round, and he was just ridiculous. I forget who he was playing with. The other guy would hit pipe one down the middle, like 310, and Rory just blasted 350, just casually. But I followed Scheffler around during the COVID year, so it was like me and Scotty Scheffler, and I was like, there's something special going on here. And that's what I bring to the golf scouting game, is this guy's pretty good. I wish I could have bought stock.
Greatest troll I've ever heard was at TPC Boston. Greatest troll of any athlete ever. Following Tiger around. And Tiger wasn't playing all that well, but just it was an incredible experience just to say I did it. So 16, just the par 3, Tiger gets up, and a guy. I mean, the best part about golf tournaments is you see all kinds of kinds. You see your, snooty, uppity, polo-wearing guy from Winchester, with also the guy in the Teddy Bruschi jersey and flip-flops.
True, there's a Boston element there that I think makes it special, or made it past tense.
So one of those guys, the Teddy Bruschi, cargo shorts, flip-flop wearing guy.
Lodge regular.
Just one of those dudes. We're waiting for Tiger to tee off, waiting for a group to clear the green, and this guy, it's quiet. He says, "Tiger, might I suggest a 9-iron?" Just like that. I mean, you just look at him and you're like, all right, dude. Like, this guy is holding a Bud Light. I mean, he's 8 beers in. Might I suggest a 9-iron? Tiger gets up, hits his shot. Gary Woodland steps up. The guy goes, This is an 8 for you, Gary. Just catching strays. I mean, the setup was tremendous.
Yeah. It's a rare thing to do. Usually it's an impulsive thing.
No, he thought that one out.
It's pretty good.
Set it up 3 minutes before, just while we're waiting. Advising type. Caddy. It was a caddy in the, I guess that's the show, huh?
That was fast.
Michael Hurley, I am glad you're here.
Me too.
I just want to say that.
Glad to be back.
You're doing one of my dream jobs right now.
I know we'll have to save it for another one of these weekend pairings.
I
think we're scheduled for one, maybe next week.
I hope so.
I hope so. I live life one day at a time.
I do too. Well, I hope to see you next weekend if that's the case.
If not, I'm sure it'll be soon. I had fun.
Always a blast.
Despite the content, we didn't really get to much good stuff. Hey, the Celtics championship run about to start.
This is a Springsteen song you're playing. It's a long walk home. Well done. It's like a karaoke version, but there we go, George. I still need those tickets. Somebody, please. I will pay face value because you can't get those right now, but...
Day of, baby.
All right.
You're on it.
He's Michael Hurley. He's the People's Champ, George Paul, but I'm Matt McCarthy. See ya.